And I'm thinking, mountain regiment, dude, okay, well, mountains, okay. I had thought maybe I wanted to go to the jungle and pick the jungle. It wasn't even possible, it was closed. I was like, I'm probably not gonna get to go to the jungle. Sure enough, we get there. In 11 months, I'm just checked in, I'm a new guy, and they go, hey, your combat company is going to the jungle. A lot of people don't know, France is territory in South America.
They do?
Yep, bro.
Guiana Francais?
Guiana Francais. It's right next to Suriname.
Now, what was the mission to go there?
Interdiction of illegal gold mining and drugs. Presence patrols, and also some protection of the legal gold mining activities down there. So we're going to blow the fuck out all these gold mines, man. So we went down there and...
What's up, guys? If you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button and hit that like button on the video. And if you don't have time to watch this episode right now, I'd really appreciate it if you saved it to your watch later playlist on YouTube. Finally, if you'd like to follow me on Instagram or X, those links are in my description below.
Dude, you are a ball of energy.
Dude,
I love it. You walk through the door and I'm like, let's go.
That's how we got to be, man.
That's it. And your life is absolutely absurd. My friend Reed Morin had you on his podcast and called me up. He's like, Julian, you have to talk to this guy. He's insane.
He's a young talent, man.
Dude, he does such a good job. But he was so amazed at all the ups and downs you've been through and all the different times that you've also like caught yourself and taking control of your own. Yeah. Maybe it took like 10 times sometimes.
Yeah.
But like there's certainly lessons to be learned there. And obviously you were a goddamn American hero, man, fighting for the Navy SEALs. So there's a lot on the bone today, and I want to get to as much of it as we can. But thank you so much for coming out here from California.
Dude, I appreciate you having me, bro. You got a good thing going on here, bro. Your execution's impressive.
Thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. But from the beginning, where'd you grow up?
Grew up in San Diego, California. So born in Boston. Family's like East Coast. Parents met at an athletic club and one night date, and here I am. And then my dad was in the Marine Corps, brought us out there in Orange County. We're at Tustin. It's an old Chinook base. And so I grew up on a Marine base for a little bit of my life. And then my dad got out, 6 in and out. And we stayed in San Diego, man. My dad was all about, no shirt and, getting a tan and working out. So we kept us out there.
Love that. And did you have other siblings too?
Yeah, I have a younger sister, Isla. What's up, Isla? And she's into rock climbing. She's a physical therapist and stuff, lives up in Bishop. But yeah, so we grew up in San Diego, California, Serra Mesa, to be specific. It's right in the middle of San Diego. And man, at that time, early 90s in San Diego was awesome, man. It wasn't too crowded. Still had a little edge, but I mean, we were at the beach, building forts in canyons and, watching Mighty Ducks and playing, getting pumped up and going play roller hockey in the street, So it was...
You're outside.
We were outside, and sports were pushed. If both my parents are athletes. My dad's a really good football player. Was a avid bodybuilder back in the day. Competed in Mr. East Coast and all that stuff. And so I was raised around. I would be a little kid going to the gym with them, in daycare, and it was just part of the deal. You worked out and you were mindful, not super anal about everything, but you lived your life. But you go to the gym, you work out, you go outside, you play sports. I loved it, man.
Yeah, you know what I noticed when I go to places like a Miami, I haven't been to San Diego, but it's kind of the same deal. What I'm getting at is that you see so many people who are in amazing shape. Yeah. And you don't see a lot of people who are like obese or anything like that. Yeah. What is that just because like you think you're at the beach all the time, you're forced to be outside because it's beautiful all the time?
Dude, you're wearing less clothes. Yeah. I think it's as simple as that. Yeah. People in cold environments, man, you can cover up all those fat rolls with jackets. It's that simple, I think, and that's why I think a lot of girls are like, I like the fall and the winter. I'm like, no, you're just because you're lazy and you want to wear more clothes. You can't get away. You can't get away with it. So it's like the room for error, man, is razor thin. And Miami's an impressive city, energy-wise, a lot of stuff down there. And San Diego is very similar, I'd say, in that capacity. It's a fitness-minded place, badass gyms everywhere. Yeah. People are into it. Man, it's definitely speaks to me, that whole world.
Yeah. What sports did you get great at growing up?
So growing up, I was in soccer, like most kids, which my mom was super smart. We actually had a conversation. I love my mom. She's a super strong woman, but she said something interesting yesterday about, put your kids in soccer, not immediately baseball and stuff, because that foot coordination, foot-eye coordination is Man, it's the root of all sports. What do they say in golf or anything you're doing, wrestling? Man, your foot placement, man, your feet.
Look at all these Europeans in the NBA now.
Yeah,
with their footwork, 100%, man.
It's footwork, boxing, anything you're doing. So it started with soccer, then swimming. Hated swimming because it's boring, but worked out well for me in the long run. And I didn't like the bathing suits and stuff, but baseball. And then going into my dad calls it, hey, put your doink bathing suit on, dude. And I'm like, man. And so I'm like, man, I gotta put this. I used to wear board shorts up to the thing and take them off and then dive in, bro. I hated it, but. Quit that in 12 years old, and then going into high school was just football and lacrosse. Just focus on football and lacrosse. I went to a high school, Poway High School, which is like a wrestling school. One of the best in the States, one of the best in the country. So it was like I thought about wrestling. They were calling me to wrestle, but they're like, if you wrestle, you're not doing anything else. Yeah. And I wanted to play football. That was my heart.
What was your position?
I played strong side outside linebacker and like a strong safety. Man, I laid the hat, bro.
I was gonna say you're one. I could see.
Bro, I lay the hat. I know how to hit. Bro, I lay the hat. Even since a little kid, I could hit. Man, we had some pretty significant contacts. Like I would leave with some crazy headaches, man. But back in the day, they would teach you, man, you hit with the crown of your head. It's not like today, bro. Dude, they'd line us up like 20 yards. And I went to I played at an all black, pretty much all black middle school where I played. And so I was like the only white kid on the field. And so there were some people with some wheels, bro.
Oh, yeah.
So, and a lot of speed. So I had to hit, bro. So I had to run through people and, man, some significant contact. But it was good going into high school because I knew how to hit. And lacrosse, I played crease defenseman, man. It was the same thing. I was just all about the contact.
Oh, so you were really good at lacrosse, too.
Yeah, that was actually where I got more accolades and more looks. It was actually in lacrosse.
No
Yeah.
What years is this? Are you in high school?
So I graduated in 03.
All right. Yeah. So lacrosse was like really starting to become a thing like late 90s, early 2000s.
That's exactly
America,
right. Yeah, that's good information. It was the first year that actually was CIF. It was actually scholastic, not club. And yeah, it was exploding at the time on the West Coast. It's always been big on the East Coast, right? Philly and Virginia and Maryland. That is, that's the core, but lacrosse has picked up big time, man. Some of the biggest hits I ever had was in lacrosse, bro. Like significant. If you're within 3 meters of the ball, bro, you're fair game, bro. You know what I'm like? And I took full advantage, bro.
Can you imagine this dude?
Dude, I was like tatted up in high school and too, bro. I was 16. I had fucking my back done, my arms, bro. I was and I ended up getting kicked out, bro. That's what actually
you got kicked out.
That's what sent the trajectory, bro. My life was I got arrested at school. I had brought some heat on myself for a couple little fights and things, but they brought drug dogs on campus, and I had weed in my car. And so
it was just for weed?
Yeah, it was just for weed. And so I didn't even have weed. Here's the thing, man. I would have been fine with it if I had a bunch of weed, but it was like they swept Shake off the ground, bro, of my truck. And
like
I didn't
roaches?
Not even roaches, bro. Like it was like I had a nug like underneath my CD player.
My God.
And then it was like the flakes from it. They threw it out in the juvenile court because I was a juvenile, but because of that, dude, I had to change high schools. I got kicked out. They arrested me at school and I left. I never went back to that school. That was midway through senior year. So I lost all my lacrosse scholarship looks. Couldn't play lacrosse senior year. At that time, man, I lacked self-awareness on a really massive scale. So I didn't understand the gravity of what that actually meant, right? Because I had Notre Dame looking at me, Tar Heels, like coaches calling me, and I was like, yeah, just totally, and then I'm like, oh yeah, but I got kicked out. Like, dude, we don't. And then I never got any calls back.
What do you mean?
I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, we're good, right? They're like, no, we're not good, dude. Like, and I'm like, shit. So and then and that was what kind of started turning the tracks, and I ended up going to some different schools and stuff after that.
Wait, so you did still end up at college?
Yeah. So I went
Where'd
to Chapman University. It was a D3, the only place that would really take me, and to two sport to play football and lacrosse.
Oh, you did both.
So, well, that was the plan. But dude, I was rocking and rolling, man. Like not in a good way. We were coming back from the river, and we crashed on the freeway, going like 90 in a lifted Tundra, and I got ejected out of the car, like boom. That's why I got a big ass scar down my arm. I ejected out of one of the windows, on the freeway, and I woke up like on the side of the road.
Holy
like dude, I woke up and I go, ugh. Dude, I look at like the road, and I just see like we had a golf cart. I see like two of the dudes I was with sitting on like the subwoofers. They're all f***ed up like way down the fucking road. And I'm like, what? And I remember I had just had like a Carl's Jr. and like sourdough jack in my hand. I was biting when we fucking crashed. And I remember going, my sourdough. Like, and then and I see my shoes, bro. My shoes. And I was like, I got blown out of my fucking shoes. And I had that moment. And then I go, ow. And then everything started hurting. And I was like, oh, I had dislocated my hip. Broke my fucking ribs, dude, I think. But dude, I walked out of the hospital like 2 days later. They popped it back in, and the doctor's like, I don't know what the I was the only one that got ejected, and I was the most fine. They didn't even stitch this. They popped my thing back in. I walked out in 2 days later with like a couple scratches, bro.
I was born with dislocated hips, and they were carrying me around like a suitcase for like the first 8 weeks of my life.
Dude?
Yeah.
It's no joke, because they were worried about avascular necrosis, and they were worried about like some of the stuff, and I was like, so it was significant, but I didn't play freshman year, right? Because
was anyone drunk when that happened?
Man, we had been partying. He was driving, and I was sitting in passenger. But it was mostly just wind, I think. And he just overcorrected, maybe a little tired, maybe like dozed off. I never even really asked the kid what happened.
So they kicked you off the teams for?
No, it wasn't kicked off the teams. I just was. There was like an insurance thing, but I also was like not in full capacity to be playing football.
Right.
You know, I was still banged up, so I wasn't cleared. So that was the first year, probably since I was 4, that I had never played a sport, you know? So I had no idea what to do with myself. And dude, we were down in Tijuana, Mexico, shooting steroids and shit. Like, bro, as like 15 years old, bro, like we were doing down. So I had been living that life, bro.
You were doing that at 15?
15, bro. Dude, we were down in Mexico shooting steroids. We'd be back for fucking high school football practice drunk after the strip club, and dead serious, bro.
I told you this was going to be a good one, Murph.
And I thought it was normal, bro, but all the kids I went to high school with, everybody except one, and he's having some troubles, are all dead or in prison. Every single one, bro. Nobody's like, I'll be thinking back of cars I've been in. I'm like, bro, out of like 7 people, everybody's dead except me.
That's
everybody,
so sad.
Right? Of just living that life, bro. And
what do you think it was that made you want to go after that? Like, you're talking like 15, going down to Tijuana to shoot steroids in your ass and party at strip clubs. Like, what is it? Like, you obviously, as we said at the outset, you're a very energetic guy. You attack things at 1,000 miles an hour in your life. It's very clear. But like, what is it that drives you for that like adrenaline junkiness?
Yeah, it was less adrenaline and more. Man, it was more fun. You know, it was just, and also I didn't have a lot of discipline. My dad was kind of out of the picture at the time. He was always been around, but he wasn't living with us, you know, and my parents were, you know, my mom's a single mom teacher. I was just selling weed and making my own money. And,
in high school.
Yeah. So I there was nobody like who had control over me. My mom would tell me it's good time to come home, but I'm like, you know, what's she really going to do? I'm paying for everything myself for the most part.
Did you ever have a relationship with your dad?
Yeah. I mean, we still, you know, he was in, and he's been there for me at difficult times, and we'll talk about that. But you know, he's had his struggles with drugs and alcohol, and kind of in and out, and so it was just, it's hard for a mom to raise a man, you know, and tell you like. But I got really good grades, so there was that piece. I was really good at sports still. I was all academic, all American, even with doing all that. And so there wasn't really like a lot of leverage to, you know, I'm getting done working, you know, doing stuff. And so it was just kind of this side thing. And that's what people were doing around me. So I just saw it as kind of normal. I didn't, that was the other piece is boys definitely are like aggressive. Boy, it's kind of like a pit bull. You got to be kind of tough on it to actually make it act right. And so that was actually the flow. And also I didn't have bigger purpose. I knew I was going to go in the military since I was 7. And so the actual catalyst for that is that, which you've talked to a lot of special operators and special force guys, and a lot of them, which I'm pretty sure you would agree with, say, hey man, since I was a young kid, I had a lot of them. Yeah. And that was the case for me. I had seen some guys training when I was young, and then that seed got planted. you know? And so I learned about Navy SEALs and Green Berets, and I was like...
At a young age?
At 1992 was October. I remember exactly when it was. And I was fascinated with Vietnam and the jungle and that wartime thing, not in a romantic way. It was a very, like, I understood the grittiness of it. Like, and once I found out you could actually be a commando, I was like, oh, that's me. So it was just kind of like everything else was just burning time until I was going to do that. That's exactly what it was. I was going to go to school. I'm just going to go through the motions, and then I'm going to the military. It was not even a fucking question.
Did you think about the concept also of like fighting for your country and having like an appreciation for the fact that you live here and get to enjoy these types of things? Was that any part of the calculation even at a young age?
So I'm like, I bleed red, white, and blue. You know what I'm saying? I'm very like American, but dude, that was not my, if I could be quite honest, it was not my push. Like it wasn't like some altruistic, like support my country, man. I wanted to mix it up, man. Right? I wanted to go and like be a special operator, and I didn't care who it was for, really. You know, not you know what I'm saying. I'm not a traitor. Not going to go fight for Russia, but we'll get into all that stuff. What's crazy, but it was man. I just knew that was the job, and I wanted to be around those type of dudes. Right? I was not some personal Rambo thing. That's I half joking about the other stuff, but it was, man, I knew those are the guys I wanted to be around, guys that wanted to be elite, guys that wanted to be anything but average, you know?
But you wanted to do this after college. That was always your thought.
Yeah.
So now you're in college, you're not playing sports as a freshman.
Yeah.
And you start partying.
Yeah. And so my mom was a Navy brat. My grandpa graduated from the Naval Academy. He was a captain. So my mom was like, you go to college, right? My mom went to college. My dad didn't, but it was just extension of regular school. So I was like, well, you go to college. So I'm doing that, failed out, kind of come back, reset. All right, I'll go to junior college and play at a really good JC, play football, doing drugs, ecstasy, man. And then I'm not working, not going to school, fail out of another junior college. So 3. And that was the moment where I had a moment of clarity where I was like, I got to change everything, right?
How many years was that?
This is
failing out of 3.
This is a year and a half. So 3 semesters in a row.
You made quick work of it.
Yeah, man, I was powering through. So I had like 2 credits in a year and a half, and I went, oh. And so I moved back to Boston, man. I moved into the basement of my aunt and uncle's house and just reset. I just sold all my gave my dad all my money, my truck. I was like, just take everything, and I just left. And
you gave your dad everything?
I was like, I called my dad because I knew he could be I was like, I'm in a bad spot. It wasn't like, I just felt the walls closing in. And it was actually interesting because after I left, a bunch of dudes went to prison and some bad shit happened. I just had a moment where like, man, I got to leave. This is like, I was empty. My soul was like screaming, bro. It was, and I said this before, I actually said it with Reed, you know, and it was this homeless guy had said, you know what rain means? Change. And I was like, that's weird. And I woke up that morning and it was raining, and that homeless guy's voice was like booming in my head. And I was like, it was raining in San Diego, which is somewhat odd. I was like, I need to change some shit up. And I did that day. And I moved, man. And I reset, started training at Boston Muay Thai Academy, was working at a fish market and landscaping and all the East Coast, and got my AA in a year and a half. Straight A's, dude. I was powered through and caught back up. And
wait, so you went to school?
Yeah, I was going to junior college. So I got all my credits caught up, going over full time, and transferred to University of California, Santa Cruz. Where,
you came back?
Yeah, so because I had in-state tuition. Okay, I was still out of state. The coach at UMass Amherst was trying to get me to play lacrosse there and stuff, but it didn't work out. So I'm like, I'm going back to California.
That's my producer, Murph is nice enough to fill in for us today, by the way. So shout out Murph and shout out Chaz Savino and the guys over at Leap for making it possible. But my producer, Alessi, who's not here right now, he went to UC Santa Cruz.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's from Santa Cruz.
Damn, bro,
so
banana slugs.
Every time we have a Santa Cruz person in here, he's not here. So I feel bad. But anyway, so you go,
no way, that's interesting.
You go out there, you get your degree. Now are you back in the mindset of like, oh, let me go to the military? So
I was still in military mode, but I was like, I'm going to just finish college. I was like, you just finished college. That was in what you do. So I was like, I'm getting through this thing. So I get my degree at University of California, Santa Cruz in politics and international relations. And Beautiful campus, by the way. If people haven't been there, it's incredible. So I go, okay, well, time to go in the military. So I go down. But during that time, man, during that college time, I had been, because I lost a lot of my discipline when I went back on campus. You know, I'm like with the girls, with the partying, and then working at a bar and all this shit. And it wasn't me doing like bad shit. It was just me being a knucklehead.
Yeah.
And dude, I probably got arrested like 8 or 9 times.
8 or 9 times.
So with drunken publics, DUI, missed driving on a suspended, fucking all the shit, and then
they didn't kick you out of school?
Well, it wasn't school. It was all civilian fucking shit out in town, man. So it wasn't enough. The school didn't know about it. They probably would have. You know, they almost kicked me off campus for the first semester.
Oh my
God. So I look, I go, but this is what I was talking about, Julian. I fucking was so immature. I said, bro, there's people with old souls. I'm a very young soul. I had no fucking idea what the fuck was going on. I'm just like working out and going to school. I'm like, okay, Stella, yeah, I got another court date. I'll finish that. And stressing, don't get me wrong. I was stressing, handling shit, riding my fucking mountain bike around because I had a fucking no license, man. Just like living. And
did you have a lawyer like talking in your ear? Like,
oh yeah,
dude, you gotta take
I've had
seriously?
lots of lawyers, man. I've had lots of lawyers. And when I had got back from Boston, I had got arrested from an old warrant and all this shit, dude.
Oh my God.
So I had some stuff, and when I get out, I go to the Marine recruiter, and he's like, bro, you're fucking on probation. And he's like, dude, this is not gonna work. And I'm like, oh man. I was like,
I thought you took people like me.
I was like, we're good, right? Just like before. We're not good. So I go, okay, well, what do I got to do? I talked to a lawyer and talked to the judge and this and that. I had paid everything up, done everything I needed to do, gone to all the classes. And it wasn't like I was slacking, bro. They made me go to fucking like 70 classes and this, and I'm riding my bike in the rain. I did it all. But the judge looked at it, and I had violated my probation so many times. I go, I'm going to the military. I need to get off. I have 3.5 more years of informal probation. He said, dude, we're not going to commute it. Like, you can go to jail for 6 months. And I was like, okay. I was like, let's do it. I thought that was a win. And the fucking the lawyer was like, whoa, he's like 6 months on a misdemeanor. Because I had no felonies, mind you. I am not a felon, and I never had any felonies. I've been charged with a handful, but I have no felonies. And the judge goes, no, all right, well, we'll do 4 then. So I did 4 months in Santa Cruz County, which is a lockdown facility, which is, I didn't see the sun for 4 fucking months, dude. And it was all lockdown, 23-1, no yard time, no any of that. So I was locked in with everybody's felons. Everybody's holding up, waiting to go to federal prison, waiting to do this and that. It was, a mixed bag, not to mention all the weird shit you're seeing in there.
Like what?
Dude, they would so I volunteered to work for the jail because you could get extra hamburgers, bro. So I fucking
need them gains, boy.
Dude, I need those gains, bro. I was working out, man. And this was 2008, mind you, just to kind of get you in the time. This was fall 2008.
Are you working out like in your cell, like the
dude? I won the dip competition in the in the jail pod, bro. I won the dip competition, dude. I can do dips for days. And so I'm doing all that shit, eating my tuna packets and buying my commissary. And I volunteered to work for the jail. I did jail laundry 7 days a week,
Amazing.
Swing shift. But because I did that, I had access to a lot of the jail, and I also had to clean the observation pod. And the observation pod is where they bring the crazies. And the crazies, too, a lot of them have fucking horrible crimes. Like, dude, evil exists. If anybody doesn't question it, man, you can feel it on some of these people. I don't know not saying they're evil. I'm saying there's evil spirits in them, because there's like a woman came in, and we would have the newspaper. And so you'd know when people got arrested and were going to be coming in and stuff. And this woman came in who had drowned all 4 of her kids, bro. Like, and she's walking by, and it's like this fucking, it's like a, ugh.
Wait, I think I remember that case.
Dude, and
what was her name?
Oh, dude, I don't remember. But dude, it was like that type of stuff.
Woman drowns 4 kids, California,
yeah.
2004.
She could have been, could have been her. But whatever happened, because they're not going to hold her there. They're going to send her somewhere else. So I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, that type of stuff. Not to mention people poop painting and stuff, bro.
Oh, poop painting.
Poop painting ain't gangster, bro, in case anybody's asking.
I didn't think it was.
It's not, because there's been some, and your life really comes to a point where you really question what decisions you've made when you're power washing a fucking shit smiley face off a fucking wall, bro.
This woman, Andrea Yates?
It possibly.
That was the one I was thinking of, but
I don't know if it's her because that's an earlier case. But
yeah, it is. You're right.
It's an earlier case. But dude, it's sad that there's multiple because that's the type of people. And also, you just see that there's what methamphetamine does, bro. Like most of those guys in there for meth.
Are they getting any drugs in there?
I didn't see a lot of drugs
because they're off.
I didn't see they're off it, but they're just dudes coming in with no teeth. Yeah. I saw a dude in there who was actually my cellmate, bro. I saw his picture, his ID, and he was like, and I go, bro. He goes, dude, it's so embarrassing to see that fucking picture. I go, dude, how much fucking weight have you put back on? So you go, 100 pounds.
Oh my God.
100 pounds in like 9 months. The guy, that's how sucked up he was. And it's just like absolute sucks the life out of you. So there was that. But I was actually in a good mood because I was clearing my shit up. And I walked out of jail.
I'm going to the military, baby.
I was like, dude, and I told the guards, like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to go be a Navy SEAL, man. And he fucking laughed. and I said, bro.
You're like, watch me, bitch.
And honestly, that was a fair response.
Yeah.
That's how delusional confidence I had, which has helped me in my life at some point. It
has helped you.
It's helped me because I didn't see the roadblocks, and I didn't know. I was ignorant to the administrative hurdles I was going to have to go through.
Well, I think another part of it is like, it's pretty clear you're like a very nice guy too.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, you're this rough and tumble, like, let's get in a fucking bar fight and drive out of here with a BAC of 24. But at the same time, you get out there and be like, I'm sorry, officer, I'm fucked up. You're right. Yeah, take me to prison. And they're like, all right.
It's fair. It's got me out of some things too, because I wear my heart on my sleeve, man. I really do. And so I started the process. I got out. I was too big, I was like 230 coming out of jail. I was just.
How tall are you?
6 feet. Yeah. So I was just 230, like all rugby weight, like football weight. I needed to tone up. So, but I'd never been in the running world doing that type of stuff. I've been football and like I ran a little bit in lacrosse, but I fucking hate running, bro. It's for the enemy. I hate it, bro.
Wait, you said it's for the enemy?
Yeah.
They run from me.
Running's for the enemy, bro. I don't like it at all, man. But it's necessary evil, and you do got to be able to move. So I went to the Marine officer recruiter coming out of jail, and they took a picture of my tattoos, and I got fucking denied for my tattoos. Not even my background. They hadn't even checked the background yet. They
denied you for tats?
They didn't even deny me for just tats. They denied me not even for officer, for every Marine. I couldn't be a Marine. They fucking said, get out of here, bro.
Every Marine I know, except like one, has tats all over
It was 09 at the time. They were a little strict. And I didn't even have my arms or hands or neck, dude. It was I had my back done. They said too much of a percentage of my body was done. So there you go, man. It shut the door, which is funny.
All the Marines.
They said, you are done.
Did they say go to the Army?
Well, that was the process that was about to happen. Because I thought, I wanted a gun and I wanted to deploy. That was what I wanted to do, and I was scared to fucking try for SEALs. Even though that's what in my heart I wanted to do forever.
You were scared.
I was scared, man, because I grew up in San Diego. I knew a lot of all-American wrestlers, water polo players, people that had tried. Nobody ever made it. Everybody ended up scraping barnacles in the Navy. So undesignated. And I was like, dude, I did not want to be on a ship. It was my fucking biggest fear to end up. It's not what I wanted to do. Also, I had a lot of student loans that my mom had co-signed on. I couldn't fucking be in the regular military and make enough money.
How old are you at this point?
23.
Okay. And you're done. Wow, you went through a lot to get that college degree too.
Yeah, so it was 5 years. I graduated 17, I 22, and then so I'm 23.
I can't believe it was only 5 years.
That was only 5 years,
like
man.
6 schools.
Yeah, I powered through in those last couple of years, man. And so it took me 5 years to get a 4-year degree. So I really was. Okay, Army. All right, fine. I'll be a Green Beret. I'll go to Ranger School or I'll get a contract. And they ran my background. They said, no fucking way.
In the Army.
Yeah, and that's when I got real fear. That's when the depression set in, or the like Mr. Scary set in, and I went, oh, dude, I fucked myself. All that dumb shit I did. Like I said, your decisions matter. This is when I started to fucking level up a little bit. And a man levels up when he starts to understand the consequences of his actions. That's
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's when I would start to hit these wickets. And this was the moment where I really started to understand that, okay, I might have totally fucked this up for myself. So I went home, dude. I rode my bike back to my mom's house. I'm at my mom's house, right? In my high school hometown, fucking can't have no job, nothing. I'm a loser.
What did your mom think of all this? Because it's a series of wins and losses. Like, okay, you got it right. You ended up graduating college, but then my son had to go to jail for 4 months after that. Now he wanted to try out for the Marines. Proud of your son. They said no. The Army said fuck off. Now he's home on my couch. Like this is a mixed bag.
Yeah,
like how's she talking to you? At this time?
So my poor mom. Well, I wasn't saying anything to her yet about the Army saying no. She just saw I was like a little bit down, and she's like, "The fuck, something's up." So I was just like, "Oh man," and I had a moment. I call it the authentic voice of God. Man, it comes in and was like, "Hey, you need to stand the fuck up and write down your charges on a piece of paper." Dead serious. It was that clear.
Write down your what?
Your charges and the dispositions on a piece of paper. Just write them down. Yeah. And so I got up with a pen and I wrote down the disposition and the charges. Not all the arrests, but just the charges, because it would have looked like a fucking ancient.
You would have needed another scroll.
Yeah, like like one of like Lord of the Rings shit, dude. Would have if going to the recruiter. I couldn't do that. So I wrote down the stuff that had serious paperwork, and everything was cleared, paid off. It didn't look bad. It was all misdemeanors. So it was really not atrocious when I went in there. And when I'm going in the Navy, recruiter. Okay, so I ride my little bike, my little Huffy or whatever the fuck I was riding, dude. And I skirt, up to the front. And I gave him it. And he said, dude, we can work with this. And I went, okay, all right. And that was a moment where I was just so grateful that at least he gave me that one tactical pause to look at it and said, all right, we'll do this.
What changed, though? Because they said no for your tattoos shortly before.
Well, it was the Navy. It was the Navy. It was the Marine Corps. So the Navy was a little more lax, bro. And this was a time when they were trying to get some SEALs in. They wanted to plus up, but they just couldn't get. So they started widening the berth. They're
looking at this. They're like felony bar fights. Fuck yeah, sign them up. Let's go, boy.
Well, they said I couldn't. What's funny is I couldn't even do other jobs. I couldn't be a corpsman. I couldn't be anything else. I think he goes, dude, you can pretty much wrangle shit or be a SEAL. You can't. You have drug charges and stuff. If you can pass all the SEAL screening stuff, you can do it. But the other job for you is like fucking nothing, to an outsider like me, that sounds crazy, because like we think of that end of the military, you're talking SEAL teams. Yeah, I mean that's it, man. Yeah, they were okay with opening it up with some little edgier dudes, to like, and they're like, okay, if you can actually, edgier. Yeah, and that's what I think it was. And I was grateful. I was like, I'm fine. So I signed up with like aviation technician. You got to sign up for another job, and then did delayed entrance processing. But you still got to earn your SEAL card. Delayed entrance processing? It's called DEP. People that don't know, it's called delayed entrance processing, where you sign up for the Navy, but you don't ship yet. So you have 9 months until you get your boot camp ship date. So you're technically not in, but you've signed up. Does that make sense? And so, so they can call you in for physical screening tests and stuff like that. But you're chilling for 9 months. But you're working a civilian job. I was working at Home Depot stacking boxes at night. I love Home Depot. Yeah, that's where I was working at night, stacking boxes and training during the day, because I was trying to get a SEAL contract. They don't just give it to you. And I needed tattoo waivers, conduct waivers, all these waivers. Yeah, I needed waivers. I still needed waivers to get these things approved. So I found the SEAL motivator is called Commander Fuller. What's up? And he's the guy that kind of puts in the good word, right? We'll write you a letter of recommendation. He's the guy that pushes the contracts. And you called him a motivator? Yeah, it's their job. They hold regions of the United States. They were called a SEAL motivator at the time, and they run physical screening tests, trainings, and the guys that actually want to be SEALs. And so that's what I did. I sought him out, and I would be the only one showing up at some of these workouts, and with an active duty SEAL also, who I just connected back with. It was the beauty of social media, man. He was like, dude, I dig what you're doing. So that was cool. But him and the other guy were the only reason I got a SEAL contract, because they saw me. I was puking every fucking day for like 9 months, dude. Because I running and just puking, and I lost 40 pounds in like 6 weeks. Wow. Just half-mile sprints, training, 2-hour, 3-hour training sessions every fucking day. And then doing physical screening tests. I did like 40 in a row or something like that. 40 in a row. So I did the SEAL screener every Monday down at the Naval Amphibious Base. So you have this thing, it's so clear, where even then, like
like I talked about at the beginning, all these back and forths where you could turn on that discipline, if you will, and when it was turbocharged when you turned.
Yeah, I was locked on, man, because I didn't have anything to celebrate. Right, I had shifted gears. I was like, bro, this is all I can get single track focused really, really well, and this is all I had, and I was loving it. Right, I felt good. It made me feel good being on that positive path again. I was training. If everybody knows, man, when you get a good workout, and you go back home and you're like, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. That is what I had to like learn back later in life. But that was what I was experiencing, man. I had no money. I had a $500 fucking purple Jeep, dude, stick shift that I was driving around, bro. But I loved it, man. It was everything I needed. I didn't need anything else, and it really stripped down. It was one of those moments in my life where you're all the noise is stripped down, quite literally. You don't have money to go out and fucking get distractions, and nobody's calling you on the phone. And I was off the grid, just focused and happy with it and really grateful.
Any of your friends, because you're back where you were when you were growing up, any of your friends that you left behind when you went out to Gloucester?
Yeah.
To live, are they hitting? Are they hitting you up?
I had a couple. Yeah, I had a couple. Every once in a while I'd mink up, but I was just separated from it. I just didn't really get engaged with it. I stayed busy, and I had like 1 or 2 times I went out during that whole space with some guys. And man, what do you know? One day I got my SEAL contract. August 26, 2009, they gave it to me, and I signed it, and I shipped in February, and then I started that pipeline.
So when you say you shipped, is this like immediately going to Buds?
No, that was a special warfare section of boot camp at the time. So it was all SEAL candidates, 100 SEAL candidates. And
where do you go?
Only 9 made it out of that 100. Just to kind of give you a numbers from that original boot camp. It was at the same place in Great Lakes, Illinois. And it was and we had a solid boot camp, dude. Like 5 of those guys are operating at the tip of the spear still. Today, right now, like tip out of those 9, like some of my best friends in the world, bro.
So you're still really close.
Yeah. So, and talk, daily almost on text and stuff. So that I knew we had a good crew, and it just proves, we actually really did have a good crew. And you know what? Then we went into Bud's prep, that whole selection, but basically on our demolition prep, which is just training 3 days a week, running, swimming, lifting.
Well, wait, take me back for 1 second. Mm-hmm. When you first ship out, and it's the 100 of you, and you said only 9 ended up making it all the way through to SEALs, and you go out to Illinois. How long's this process, and are there people is there attrition before Buds too?
Yeah, so people quit, they'll get hit for medical, they'll get hit for, so people are getting chipped away slowly. They decide it's not for them. They don't want to be training like that and whatever. And so it's whittling away. So I think we're at maybe 70 or something like that, 60 by the time we finished boot camp, who actually still went to Bud's prep.
And how long was that boot camp?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. And you're just all 7 days a week, all day, just crazy
Navy
physical
stuff too. Well, we're training in the morning early, which is different than the regular Navy's doing. So we're like in the pool or training at like 4. And no goggles and like all chlorinated pool, dude. Just like so, it's raw. It's at the beginning, right? You're not training with fins and stuff. It's pretty raw. Then you go to Bud's prep, and that is 8 to 16 weeks, depending upon where you fall in the class, like time of the year and stuff. And they take 3 sections. They'll take Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, which is their better guys are in Alpha to Bravo, and you're running. And they had civilian contractors who were specialists in swimming or running or lifting or whatever, mixed in with some SEALs who were instructors. And that was cool because now you're just training. It's a little bit more lax. It was, you're not in Buds. You're like getting screamed at, but you're training, and it was hard, but it was very useful just to build back up. Because you lose a little bit in boot camp, just, no sunlight and shit, just to build back up the health a little bit. And then they take the top 75%. It's like a 4-mile run, 1,000-meter swim, all pull-ups, dead hangs, all that stuff. They take the top 75%, and then they flew us out to Buds.
In Coronado.
And so we flew out with like 400 guys, like almost 400.
Wait, how'd it get up to 400?
Well, there's all these boot camps.
Oh, there's all different ones.
All the boot camps coagulate, and it's like spread out over 4 months, 5 months.
400 guys went to try out, and what Bud's class was that?
And this was Bud's class 284. Now, 400 flew out, but a bunch of guys got out there, and they're like, finally, I'm back in San Diego. I want a better job, but I don't want to be a SEAL because they don't want to run and swim and all that. And so a bunch quit before we even started training.
So how many people started?
So
approximately.
So we about 100 guys were like, hey, I want a different job. So it was like down to 300 within like the first week when they're just doing the administrative starting. Then we do the PST and a bunch more guys get chopped. So we started with the physical screening test before you start buds. So we started indoctrination, buds class 284 with 285 guys.
Guys, if you're still watching this video and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please take 2 seconds and go hit it right now. Thank you.
After that indoctrination, we started first phase, with the green helmets. We were at 185. So 100 more guys got chopped in that indoctrination 3 weeks.
Oh, it's 3 weeks.
Yeah, so we're at 185 guys, classing up day one with the green helmets with 185 guys.
I don't know that I've ever asked this to any of the SEALs I've had in, and I definitely have never Googled this, but do they have a minimum number in mind that they want to make it and a maximum number that they could cut kind of deal?
Yeah, so dude, there's been buds classes where nobody finished back in the day.
Right, so no one makes it.
Nobody. There's been buds classes where one guy graduates.
Yeah.
So in the old days, right? There's just more people now.
Yeah.
So I don't think that there's a quota. Who knows? Maybe way high up they have some type of thing. Hey, we need at least this many guys through. But of that 185, after Hell Week, which is 3 weeks later, we were at 50. So we were at 50, and then a bunch of those guys got rolled for injuries after Hell Week.
Oh, could you imagine making it through that? And
They get rolled. If you make it through Hell Week, through Wednesday, you get rolled forward, so you don't have to do Hell Week again. Okay. You just are like on a medical hold, and you get a brown shirt, and you fucking are in a different like level of turd. You're not shark shit on the bottom of the ocean. You're still shark shit though.
Yeah.
And so actually out of that 185, man, out of that really 400, 15 guys, 13 to 15. I don't remember the exact number. Actually finished all the way through, me being one of them.
What's after Hell Week?
So it's more of first phase. You still have more kind of getting kicked in the dick. Then the blue helmets, which is dive phase, combat diving and pool competency tests. That's another hardcore wicket that dudes get chopped. 20-minute test underwater where they're pulling on your hoses and you're fighting with an instructor and you can't surface, but you're having to go through. That's a pretty wild test.
And if you surface, you're cut.
Yeah, they call it bolting, where you dudes get, because you're pretty much like doing your prop and you're like, and then they'll hit you again and you're fighting, and it's kind of to simulate surf, but it's 20 minutes long. And then they'll have to, and there's procedures you have to go through during this. That was, tough. That's the next tough wicket.
So and then even if you come up like in that situation and then you're like, fuck it, put me back down there. And they're like, no, you're failed.
You're done. Wow. They would rather see you pass out. Right. They'd rather see you go black out. They'll pull you back up, but you cannot bolt.
And then you still have to go back down there and try it again.
You'll later that day, a little bit later. Yeah, you only get 3. You get 4 tests. I finished on the first one. I was the first guy to actually pass that test in our class.
Wow.
So I'm good procedurally in pressure situations, and I also practice a lot in my room. So I practiced a lot like of the procedures, picture, visual. I'm a visualization monster, bro. Yeah. That's what I preach to guys on my programs and stuff, but you set goals. You see yourself there. You're like, man, you see what the set's going to look. The power of visualization, man, is massively important. The football player that sees himself catching, and then when it comes, he catches it, right? It's walking through it. So I'm a huge proponent of visualization.
It's a simulation.
Why not simulate if you have the ability? So I was doing that then, but I didn't really know what I was doing. So pass. Then you go into red helmets, which is kind of a cool part, still hard, which is out on San Clemente Island, demolition, close quarters combat, small unit tactics, and all that. And you're still doing all the obstacle courses and the ocean swims and boogeyman swims and shit like that where they chum the water, all that stuff. So we graduated December 2010 with 48 guys. Some of those guys had got rolled in from other classes.
You said it was 13 to 15 of yours.
Yeah, so there was like 30 to 40 guys who'd got rolled into the class from who were all solid dudes,
Do you think that there is, because, and I ask this type of question to almost every SEAL I have and some of the Special Forces guys who do insane shit on the Ranger side and Berets, but like, you'll hear the stories all the time about the dude who shows up to buds and he's like, the triathlete, the stud, and he's the fucking first guy to get cut. Everyone thinks he's the guy that's going to make it all the way through, like lead everyone, and then he gets cut. And you're like, oh my God. Like, do you think there's really any one trait or something of that sort that is injected into all these different people who actually these warriors who make it for SEALs that you can tangibly say, yeah, that's the thing right there. That's the thing that says, yep, Frogman.
Grit. If you can bottle up grit, then you fucking have a special operator, a special warfare guy. And that could be the guy from Iowa who's kind of, we call them steel marshmallows. There's guys that just look like nothing spectacular who will crush me on a swim, on a run. Yeah. You know, you still got to have the physical component, but that, like, man, I don't give a fuck. Like, let's get it. Just grimy, bro. Like that grimy, gritty, whatever that is, those guys are going to make it, right? The triathlete, man, it's a different game when you're rested and warm and like training in the sun. It's a totally different ball of wax than when you haven't slept and you have sand in your crotch and dick chafe. Like I had dick chafe like a motherfucker in Hell Week, dude. My dick was chafed so bad, bro. Well, that's something people don't talk about is how bad the sand and the salt starts rubbing. So dudes have to get skin grafts after Hell Week sometimes, bro.
Oh, I don't doubt
it's crazy,
there's a lot of medical things going to happen
on the outsides of the hips, from the pants and the insides. Grit, man. So, but there are those guys that look like the machine of war coming in, and they are. Yeah, there's those guys too. Like, that's what a lot of people don't talk about. One of my best friends, who shall remain nameless because he's still rocking and rolling, he walked the walk and talked the talk. Dude, he was up training. I was his roommate going in, and he would be doing fucking ab core exercises before buds.
Like, what a sad that guy.
And
that guy.
And took cold showers, right? He's dialed it back because he's achieved a lot now, but he just walked the walk. He became a leader, immediately. And the instructors pushed him up, and he was very low ranked, just right out of college. All-American football player and shit like that, but could run and was tough, bro. Tough and cared. Like, here's the thing, man. I remember watching him. He would always eat last. Shit like that. Like, true leader. Like true, bro, to the core. Like, even when food would be gone, he would still fucking wait, right? Till everybody ate. If dudes were still cleaning and stuff, he'd wait. That's the type of shit, man. If you're in a position, guys listening, if you're in a position of leadership, man, are you really that dude? Right? Are you that dude, man, that you'd be like you would want to work for? Right? There's an interesting thing in the teams that they say that an instructor said when we were in buds, which is fucking unbelievable. It still resonates with me to this day. And he goes, imagine you're jumping into a DZ, an unknown drop zone behind enemy lines. You're going on an op. It's night. You jump out. Something kind of goes bad on the way down. You fucked up. Now you're okay. Then you get separated. You land. You're by yourself. He goes, you realize you got nothing. Some of your gear's strewn about, and you're by yourself behind enemy lines. He goes, then you see a silhouette come over the hill, and you can't really tell who it is, but then you see it's one of your guys. He goes, then you see who it is. He goes, and you have one of two reactions. Oh fuck, it's that dude. He goes, or you have the reaction, fuck yes, it's that dude. I'm gonna be all right. He goes, be that second dude coming over the hill.
Yes.
Whatever you got to do, fucking to be that guy. Be that fucking guy. And I was like, damn. Like, I can't forget that, bro. Like, be that fucking dude that people are like, thank God he's on my team. It doesn't matter. You don't got to be in combat, bro. Thank God we're working with him. Like, everything that dude touches is gold, right? That resonates everywhere in the business world here. So there was just those moments, those poignant moments in SEAL training. And I'm sure it's like that in the Q course and the Green Beret pipeline, where it's just like magical, man. Like really powerful lessons. Guys who are coming back from Iraq, shot, hurt, silver stars. Those guys are all my instructors, bro. Like
who were your instructors?
Dude, my first phase, and people say, oh, our first phase was tough. Bro, my first phase instructor, one of them was Eddie Gallagher.
Oh shit!
And the other one was Capone, right? Capone. Well, those were my two first phase instructors, bro. I ended up being on SEAL Team 7 with Gallagher, man. Awesome fucking operator.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was, and Capone's just epic dude, right? Solid cat to head to toe. And so I really felt like I was taught lessons, hard lessons, right? Powerful lessons by tough dudes, coming in. And I was grateful for it. I knew I was at a magical time, and it ended up being that.
Yeah, for people out there, Eddie Gallagher was a guy. He hasn't been on this show, but he was a guy I discussed a lot with Sean when I had Sean on episode 148, because Sean is friends with Eddie, had him on his show, and he went through this whole thing where they tried to bring some case against him from Iraq or whatever, that he ended up, I think like Trump stepped in and
he beat it.
Got rid of that. But, you know, he is known as like, he's a legend as far as it, like, not even on the warrior side, although he's known for that too, but like you hear about on the training side, like people are like, yo, I had Eddie Gallagher.
Bro, he's tough as fuck. Bro, that guy, they call him Fast Eddie. That guy can run. That guy is a physical monster, bro, too. Like, walks the walk, up early, training, hard motherfucker, right?
Are they wearing you down mentally as much as they can too, like on purpose?
Dude, it was powerful, man. And I had like a problem with my feet at the beginning where my boots were too small, and I got MRSA on my feet.
Oh shit.
And dude, my feet looked like, bro, the doctor looked at it, he's like, dude, you're gonna get fucking rolled. There's no way. And I was hurting so bad I couldn't even fit my feet in the boots. And my buddy who I was telling you about, that tough dude, he's like, dude, you gotta go to the medical. And I was like, dude, that's where all the dudes who quit go. I can't fucking go. But I couldn't even get my fucking feet in. I was like, and so I went, he said, look, we're gonna have you soak your feet in this shit. But it was Friday, thank God. He goes, take this stuff, soak your feet. He goes, you're going to have to come back Monday. You're going to get rolled. It was like a fucking miracle, dude. I soaked my feet in this shit all weekend, and I never went back. I got bigger boots. I went to a military surplus store. Dude, it went away. Bro, in like 2 days. It was unbelievable.
What were they soaking it in?
I don't know, man. It was something unbelievable. But I got bigger boots, put sock liners on. It wasn't all the way gone. I still got scars on my feet from it. But dude, I never went back, and I never had a problem. I never got hurt in buds. I never got hurt in anything ever for all of, I got super lucky. I've never been hurt ever in the military, not ever, bro. And I never missed a day of nothing. And so I was super fortunate in that capacity through my whole career, 13 years, dude. I've never had an injury. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, dude. And I'm still feeling pretty good. So that whole time was powerful. And we go into SQT. That was an unbelievable experience. Felt like I was rocking and rolling right where it's still focused.
Can you tell people what SQT is?
SEAL qualification training. And that's, just for the cells, so people understand the flow. We go, it was wintertime, immediately go up to Alaska, Kodiak for cold weather mountain warfare for a month, doing over the beach attacks, swimming in, hypothermia. They call it rewarming drills, which is a really nice way of fucking making you hypothermic, and then teaching you how to, but cool, right? Now your autonomy's growing back. And the beautiful thing about the SEAL teams is, bro, they give you autonomy early. Dude, we were not even a year in the Navy, enlisted guys driving around in like, rented trucks and flying and like stocking, they push ownership and responsibility very early in the SEAL teams, probably in all the special force community, special operations community in general. And so that's all I knew about, the military. So which was the juxtaposition was be the late Foreign Legion later, which I have, the crazy dichotomy juxtaposition. Yes. Which made it hard. But so we're doing all that, come back, then we do combat diving. Another
What
cell.
does that consist of?
That's, all the rebreathers, the no bubbles, and the navigating underwater, planting mines on ships and doing all that shit. Tough, freezing, cold, 4 hours underwater, dude, navigating in the dark at night. It's cold as shit. You're jackhammering. It's tough. And the guys at SDV, more power to them. Holy, we got a guy that will kind of get you talking about SDV. It's powerful stuff, man. What they're doing underwater is insane. So we move into close quarters combat, where our instructors, bro, we're all from, at that tip of the spear, dudes from, development group and teaching us serious tactics, bro. Practical tactics that actually have just been, brought back and taught to us from the front.
Can you describe some of them?
Yeah. So, to not get into, but just how you're entering the room, right? How you're doing it safely. And the most important, tenet is, man, you're always going to be right if you're protecting your buddy. If you're thinking in that capacity, bro. Is he entering the room and you're not entering, bro? You don't have plates on his back. Right? Plate to plate. If you're moving in angles and being geometrically aware, being structurally aware of the building, right? It's right. all these things, these concepts that I was like, bro, I love what I'm doing, right? It's being structurally aware of the building. How's the house flow? Where are the veins of the house? Where's the hallways? Where's the stairs? Where's the angles of the shots? All these things are matter, bro. You know, where's never flagging anybody? There's so many things you got to think about. How's your safety? Where's your finger on it? When you're putting your finger on a trigger, when you're not doing it, how you're scanning in a dark room on night vision while dudes are moving around. So that was what we're pushing through, which is a tough test. That's another tough crucible where it's stressful. Is that? That's another 8 weeks. I believe that all the cells are 8 weeks.
Got it.
Then we're going into land warfare, which is powerful, bro. Probably one of the toughest cells physically out of all the training.
So at this point, you're not a SEAL yet.
No.
You're still...
No, we're still in training right at the tail end. We're like, those tail end guys have been in it, you know, for, it'll be 18 months almost by the time we finish, solid from boot camp to, if you do it fast all the way, which I had done.
But you're not losing guys at this point. The guys
You're getting guys still failing.
Oh, still?
It's ones and twos though. It's like onesie twosies, failing close quarters combat, failing the shooting tests, failing skydiving, which we'll get into next, right? They just can't stabilize and things like that are unsafe. It's usually safety stuff. Okay. At that point, where they're like, dude, you just can't get this.
So when you finished the buds part, you had 13 to 15 guys?
Yeah, we finished buds, we had 48, right?
Oh, okay.
With the rolled in. So we had 48 or 50-ish.
And then only 13 to 15 made it all the way through.
For buds. But then by the time we go into SQT, we had started buds, then we had like, they call them originals, 15 originals who had finished all the way. But our class was 48 because guys had got rolled in from previous classes.
I'm just trying to follow
Then going into SQT, we had about 48, the guys who had graduated buds. We probably finished with like, 45 or 50 because dudes still get rolled in at those points.
That's right. You had said because other guys come in from other. Understood.
Yeah, and even in SQT, you'll have guys rolling in from who failed close quarters combat or whatever. But you only get one failure in the whole pipeline now. So one technical failure. You get a medical roll and a technical roll. So you can't just keep getting rolled back.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
I keep bottling in this question because I want to know this. Like the guys that you were in 284 with, that you're going through this stuff with, are you guys extremely tight?
Oh yeah.
At this point, you know everything about each other?
Yeah, we're tight. You know what the guy looks like at dark at night from behind. Yeah, we're tight, man. And the guys who got rolled in the class became some of my best friends too, you know, even later down in the pipeline, who I'm still friends with, who I've been in their weddings and stuff like that. So now we're in land warfare. Osama bin Laden gets taken down while we're in. So that's
2011.
So that's right. And dude, we're in there with guys' older brothers who are on the op, right? And things are tight, close. It's becoming real what's happening, you know? And then Extortion 17 goes down 3 months later, right? With a lot of people that are still, you know, tight in the community and brothers and man.
Can you tell people what happened there?
Yeah, so Extortion 17 was when Chinooks got shot. It was extremely sad, man. You know, a lot of really solid operators, fathers go down in that. And, you know, that was, you know, it's fucking brutal, man. You know, that's a big hit to the special warfare community. That was really bad. So we were in language school at the time, but this was, you know, 3 months before Osama bin Laden gets taken down. Things are picking up. A lot of attention's coming to the SEAL community. We're just going into the little secret squirrel stuff, low visibility operations training now. Then SEER. Dude, SEER.
Oh, you had SEER after that. That's nice.
So SEER was nice because SEER actually, dude, locked naked in a box, dude, beating the shit out of us for like a week, dude. Just, you know, but you're about to graduate SEAL training, bro. So you're like, fuck it, dude, it doesn't matter.
Were you being a smart ass the whole time?
No, I wasn't like that. I'm
weren't?
not like one of those guys, but they'd have guys that are like, man, put your dick away. You know, you'd hear him down the
Stop jerking off in the box.
Yeah, stop jerking off in the box, you know, you motherfuckers. You know, and I was like, you know, they're just making fun of. They're like, oh, you dude, you got a small dick. They're yelling at dudes down the thing. I'm like, bro, these dudes are brutal. But you know, they're playing babies crying and stuff, and it's just it is what it is, bro. But I was so happy to be almost done, man. And then we finished, and dude, there we are, right? And then I go into language school 3 months, which was
what'd you have to do? What
Arabic.
Language?
Arabic. So I did Arabic for 3 months. And then
was that your choice, or did they choose that?
They
for you?
picked us kind of by our SEAL team. And we was kind of designated to us.
Oh, so you were already assigned what team you were going to?
So I got SEAL Team 7. So you could pick your West Coast or East Coast or SDV. I picked SEAL Team 7.
And this is now after the teams used to be based on the region in the world they fight in, right? That was no longer a thing.
It was kind of because there was still, some of the East Coast teams are going out in South America, so they're giving some guys Spanish, I think, and, some shit like that. But for me, your geographic region was going to be the Middle East, so, that Team 7. It's not super specific, but they're still dudes who can PAYCOM and shit like that. So, yeah, man, and then I'm at Team 7, and that was a feeling where when I walked up to my cage the first time in the locker room and I was like, see my name, and it was like, I kind of get the chills when I think about it because it was so much time of people being like, dude, you're not going to get a fucking, dude, you're like coming out of jail. And I'm thinking back at jail and like starting my PST, just thinking about all the moments going through MEPS, how fucking scary that was for me with the strategic answering I was having to do and FBI interviews. Man, I was still getting
MEPS?
Military entrance processing with all the background stuff I had. It was always a scary thing. I had this dark cloud over me, man, because I still had secret clearances. Top secret clearances were coming up. So I always had to keep reliving and answer strategically and be fucking, because I couldn't just be 100% honest. It would have been ridiculous. They're like, fucking probably 20 arrests or something. It was out of control. So I had to be smart about how I answered stuff. And there was a lot of FBI interviews I had to do, even in the SEAL teams when they were, coming on my top secret clearance, coming on, doing refreshers and this and that. It just goes to show you, man, be smart, man. Be strategic about what you're doing. All the shit matters, bro. It doesn't go away.
What did you learn? Because like I'm amazed at how you just threw yourself into this. And sorry, someone's fucking dying out there. This thing is so. We have this so noise proof, but the one thing that gets through is the fire truck. But I'm so amazed at how quick the turnaround is. Like obviously, you moved out to Boston to get your shit in order. You start going to school, doing right things. You move back to California, you go to college, you're doing a lot of the right things, but you're still fucking around and getting arrested and doing some of it's kind of funny, but like stupid shit that's getting you in trouble. You end up going to jail. You walk out of jail. You have the grit, to use your word, to figure out like how the fuck I'm gonna get somewhere in the military. You pick the highest end rung of it. They help you get in there, obviously, like they took a liking to you, and now you jump right into it. I don't even know how long this whole period is, but whatever it is, 12, 18, 24 months, you do this insane training, and now you walk up to your locker, it says your name on it, you have your trident, you're on Team 7. Like, are you like, holy shit, like, wait a minute, I'm built from something here? Or was it like, no, I could do this. This is exactly what it is.
It was a mix of both. It was. I don't like the word humble, having a low opinion of stuff, but it was like a very like somber. It was like, oh man, dude, I fucking, wow, powerful. I'm really grateful.
Powerful.
It was grateful, powerful. I felt exactly where I was supposed to be. It was like I fucking was so happy, man. It was like incredible feeling, being like, and it was 3 months to the day, pretty much, where I was showing up at my locker from when I walked out of jail, almost to the day. 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
Did I say 3 months?
Yeah,
okay.
I was like, wait a minute.
3 years to the day. 3 years to the day of when I walked out of jail to when I walked up to my locker, right? That's how long it took of just rocking and rolling, man. There was no time wasted.
Shit.
Yeah, so it was 3 years to the day, and that was powerful. And right when I got there, man, I volunteered. So they were like, who wants to go to comm school, which is not a sexy school. And they were going to give vacations to guys. I volunteered.
Comm school?
Communications. Okay. Naval Special Warfare Communications. I was like, I'll go. Right, man? I was just fucking happy to be there, bro. I didn't want to go on vacation. I was fucking right where I wanted to be. I wanted to be right fucking there, dude. And so I went to comm school. That set me up. That one decision set me up like a fucking wave, a divine wave. Because I did that, I came back and a bunch of Team 7 was just coming back from an 11-month deployment in Afghanistan. Oh. So the dudes were primed. It was a heavy energy. It was real, man. Dudes were opping. There was serious shit. Dudes are, going through stuff and dudes wanted to go on vacation. They wanted a little break. And JTAC school was coming up, Joint Terminal Attack Controller, which is coordination of bombs being dropped from jets, or close air support or just air support in general with special operators on the ground. You're talking to pilots and shit with radios. And I go, They go, we need a guy who went to comm school to go to JTAC school. And it's up near where Top Gun is, Fallon, Nevada. They do all the training with those guys and whatever. And I said, they said, do you want to? I said, I'll go. Right. And because there was some older guys who there was a gap because you had to leave on January 1st. Right. And they had just got back. I left. So I go past that school, which was challenging. And I came back, man. And they said, hey, we want a comms JTAC guy to go to sniper school.
Sign me up,
I
bitch.
said, okay, but I got to shoot off. So that created some friction points.
You got a what?
You got to shoot off. You got to shoot test with older guys, right? And so everybody wants to go to sniper school, or most guys. And I was testing with guys who were like, this fucking new guys testing with this. So I'm like stepping in front of people.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, well, this is going down. I shot well enough, beat some guys, and I get a slot for sniper school, bro. So I went to sniper school, and that was an unbelievable experience, was being able to go to that. So I was a comms JTAC sniper as a new guy, man.
You got you're loading up.
At like 7, 8, 9 months I had been at the team, I had already been done pretty well for myself. But before that, we went to Cabo to do the close protection not close protection, but his maritime extraction force for Obama while they're down there for the G20 summit down in Cabo, Mexico. They were worried about the cartels during his moments of transition.
They did a G20 in Cabo.
They did a G20 in Cabo in 2012, man, which was like rock and roll with the cartel. And so so that's what they did. And Team 7 drew the short straw. We were in the maritime force, and I think it was Team 8 or somebody was doing the on land stuff. Bro, I almost died there. That was the closest I've ever been to dying, was out during that fucking thing in the summer.
And this is before schools.
This was before I went to sniper school, right before. So I fucking, a storm came in, and we were on this, like, the LCUs, the stuff that would land on D-Day, one of those, like, things. Yeah. And, bro, the storm came in, I'm jumping onto one of the boats. I'm in full kit, dude, heavy mags, body armor, helmet, night vision. It's 2:00 in the morning, like, 8 foot, 9 foot swells in between these boats. And I'm jumping, and I hit the side of the rib and go in the drink and treading water. My M4 is wired into my kit because I didn't want to be a new guy and lose my fucking weapon. So I was not getting rid of this thing. I had a 1 water wing, which I was just, this was a moment where I realized, man, it's up to you to keep yourself alive, bro. This is big boy rules. And I had been, I was got a little too lax with, oh, dude, I'll be all right. Just jump in, and bro, I was treading water. I almost sank, dude, because I was so heavy and was just putting out, man, trying to stay up.
I'm just wondering though, you're going down there to protect Obama at a G20 meeting. What are you doing jumping off a boat at 2 a.m. in the middle of the water?
It was anytime he transited, we were in full kit. On ribs, waiting, like anytime he transited, on radios, and then when he would stop, we'd get off, right? So
covering the water.
But it was such a bad storm that we needed to take cover in port. It was like smashing the boats up against the side. So it was actually like they had to route it up, God knows what, because we're coming into a port with all automatic weapons.
So you guys, if I'm understanding this correctly, you guys are setting a perimeter from the sea.
Yeah. Well, we were going to be extracting him from his mansion. He was renting, right?
Extracting him
if he needed it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Now we're on the same page.
Beach. Off the beach. And so it was wherever he's going to be. So that was kind of what the mission set was. Coordinating air and stuff too. And so it was cool until it wasn't, and then we slept in port, hide all weapons, slept like under a fucking bridge, dude, like soaking wet. I almost just died, man. And it was a powerful moment where I go, okay, I'm glad it happened there because it locked me on. I went, whoa, dude, that was close, right? There's no more bumpers on the railings. There's no fucking, dude, you have got to be careful. Like it's, you don't get ready, you stay ready. Yeah. That was the moment where I went, dude, I got to stay fucking ready, man, because it's always when you don't see it coming. I did not see that coming, bro. And it was, it was an eye-opening experience, but I'm glad I went through it.
And the guys you were with are all these guys who were off the 11-month tour in Afghanistan.
Some of those guys. Yeah, some of those guys were.
Did any of your buddies you graduated buds with join you on Team 7?
Yeah, 5.
Okay,
five
so
or
those
6
guys are with you too?
Not at this little op. I was one of the only new guys. There was one other new guy picked for this particular thing just because of our qualifications. And because we get disseminated out. Like most, 1, 2 new guys. So we're kind of spread out. And this was just our particular troop. A couple guys got picked.
And so you finish this job, you live, thank God.
Yeah.
And you go back and you do sniper school.
Yeah.
Where is that again?
Atterbury, Indiana is where it was. It was at
What's that like? What are you
bro,
doing?
that was a fucking awesome. I was actually thinking about it today before we got on here is how cool of an experience that was. Not even just for the shooting and stuff, the stalking and all that stuff, which really I love. But man, going to partying with at the bars with the dudes and the strip clubs and but training hard and partying hard. It was an unbelievable experience. What
was good about sniper school? The strip clubs were amazing. Bro.
No, dude, it was cool, man. Because looking back, there's just those periods of life where you just can't recreate. I'm new guy, so I'm having to fucking fight guys sometimes, bro, because I'm driving sober on a couple nights and fucking animals in the back seat, bro, doing van fights, and I'm trying to keep this van on the road, bro. And then I had another new guy partner, and he was just kind of a little bit more not fragile, but he couldn't stay up all night, sober and then and perform. So I was like, bro, I'll take your shift, and it was just because I needed him to be on point because he was calling wind.
Oh, and you're doing the
shoot. And like I could actually do some shit, like a little tired, but he was like get a little bit more frazzled. But bro, it was powerful.
Had you grown up shooting at all?
No.
On ranges and stuff?
No. Like I'm San Diego, man. I shot a little bit, but nothing. No, I'm not like a country boy at all.
So this was a brand new type thing,
which was actually probably good. I didn't have bad habits. I didn't have any bad habits, and so I just kind of listened to them. Trigger squeeze, and there's better shots. I'm not. There's shooting's a talent, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like there's guys who are just better shots. They can hold tighter groups. I'm like a 85% guy. Like I'm a B+ guy. There's guys who are like A shooters. I'm like a B, which is checks out for pretty much how I am.
Probably pretty damn good.
I'm okay, man. But it was cool because you also have guys coming from, some of those tier 1 units that were coming and watching us and watching our tests and overviewing the course and involved and would also, talk to us about the seriousness of what we were learning. Guys that they had, die because they didn't set up sniper hides correctly and didn't black out rooms correctly and, having their glass not is reflecting and they're not paying attention to these small things. And dudes in tears, bro, telling us stories, bro. Like, that's what's going through these, reflecting back on some of those moments are powerful. You got grown men, crying, telling you a story about the importance of what the fuck you're learning, dude. It's really, there's very few things that you go through in life where you recreate those moments. So I was really grateful to have gone through that experience and, come back. It wasn't really my bread and butter in the teams because I was more in the JTAC world, but I had that qualification. So
and if you got called in, you could do it.
Yeah. So it was cool to have.
And that's something, but that's a skill you got to constantly, you got to water the flower of that.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You lose it for sure. It's you use it or you lose it.
Yeah, I just had Danny Hall in here, who was like a legendary. I mean, he was a lot of things, but he was a legendary sniper among other things with the Green Berets and the Special Forces in general for a lot of years. And it's crazy when this motherfucker would start. Like sitting right in your seat right there, start explaining the process of this during different missions throughout the whole. We did 2 episodes. It was like 6 hours. But like when he would start to do it and he would like turn towards this camera and do the gun movement, I could see right here that he had left the room while he's explaining this. And he's there. He's feeling the metal. He's seeing the shot, describing the wind. And I'm like, my OCD mind's thinking of all the details that go into this. And I'm like, thank God I'm not the one doing this because there is so much that can, especially the farther away you get, the number of things that can go wrong. It's insane.
It's a mix of science and art.
Oh, my God.
It's a mix of science and art. And you really start to understand, bullet trajectory, but also wind, man. Like how powerful wind is on an actual bullet. The trajectory, crazy. It's, dude, you'll be shooting at a mover, moving left to right. And the wind will be such where you actually have to shoot behind the direction of the movement. It's odd to think about, right? You're thinking shoot in front of where the target's moving. No, you got to shoot in the back of it, right? Because of how the wind is. And then watching the bullet trace. Lead in from behind.
Crazy.
It's very odd, but once it starts, sinking in, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So you finished that. How long was that again? sniper school?
That's 2 months.
Okay,
a little
2
bit
months.
Over 2 months.
So again, like kind of the 8-week thing. So you come back to Coronado after that. You're with Team 7. Like you've already done an op with them in Mexico.
Little mini one.
But like, I guess usually you can't say like how many guys were on the team or everything. But like, how was the integration with the guys who have been there, done that on Team 7, or were you,
you're still a new guy, bro. You're still a new guy. You're still cleaning up, but you keep your mouth shut and you work. It's not that big a deal. I was locked on to, man. I was there. I was getting there 4 a.m. and working out. I was so fucking happy. Laying my clothes out before. I could not have been more just happy to be there, dude. Like I knew I was right in my purpose, and that felt good. So we were starting into the workup, but you're still a new guy. There's still those moments, and there's guys with 4 combat deployments and gone through a lot. And you haven't done shit yet, and that's the truth. So I understood that. Though, but I was all about just taking on responsibility, learn as much as I could, staying hard, man, staying physically fit and looking and acting the part, bro,
So you're not out there partying, getting in trouble or any of that shit right now?
I mean, not yet. Yeah. But no, I wasn't getting in trouble, but I was, we'd go out and have fun, but I wasn't getting in trouble and stuff like that. I was still, pushing the pace a little bit, but not really. During training and stuff, I was cells. I was not like out fucking around, and I was pretty locked on. I had one little thing. I got picked up drunk in public in like Newport on like New Year's on Christmas Eve day, and they were like, it wasn't like me being the cops was like, hey man, I'm leaving the bar. He's like, hey, but come up here. So that was scary because I'm like, oh fuck, you can't get alcohol related incidents, but it wasn't a crime, and they didn't. I called my leadership, and they're like, dude, fucking whatever. Like, they're like, did you do anything? I'm like, no. The cop, they like, you didn't even run paperwork. It was, So I said, okay. So we do the full workup. We get ready, and then we go to Yemen, right? That's where we get picked up for that low visibility operation in Yemen because they only allowed 9 of us in country.
What year is this?
This was 2013.
Okay, so they let 9 Team 7 guys in country.
Yeah, so. It was cool, man. They give you the credit card, buy all your Arc'teryx shit, and and start growing your beard out. So we were growing beards out and getting ready to go, and it was me and one other new guy that got picked for it, and everybody else was older guys. And we went, man, and it was pretty much a gray not pretty much exactly a gray insert. We weren't coming through a port of entry. You know what I'm saying? So we were.
So how does that work?
We were just pretty much riding ATVs off the back of a landing a C-130 and. A C-17, excuse me, and on a old Russian deserted air base and fucking riding ATVs off the back for the most part.
No passports, just rolling in.
Not stamped, yeah, just rolling in, the gray insert, technically. And we were but it was, it's not a combat deployment, right? Because it's Yemen. It's not really that yet. It's just,
what's going on at this time with the Houthis and everything? So the whole mission set at the time was to train the counterterrorism unit for a couple ops, potential interdiction of courier ops for, but it's AQAP, Al-Qaeda Arabian Peninsula is the issue there. So it's developing intelligence. There's some, some GB guys, there's stuff going on there, but it's all very gray-ish. Yeah. So we're doing CTU, counterterrorism unit training. And also, you kind of building up this small outpost base, which ended up getting taken over by the Houthis 2 years later. Oh, shit.
So, yeah, putting a lot of money into this place, building out, a helicopter landing zone for Ospreys and building this thing out with our hands, man. Like, there ain't nobody out there doing it. We're putting up HESCO walls and stringing razor wire by hand, bro. Living in tents, doing this shit for, the team before us had been there 7 months. We were there second, we were there another 7.
Are you deniable? Like, is this a little bit of, from a Navy SEAL perspective, is this like, you're there, but you guys aren't really there. If you get caught, you're on your own?
No, it's not that bad, but it's like, well, at least they didn't tell me that, but it's, but your closest air support's 6-7 hours away.
Oh, that's not
right.
Promising.
So we had, so there's things like that. Not to mention there's just, you're showering outdoors. There's death walker scorpions and other shit like that if you get fucked up, you're kind of hanging your nuts out there. Looking back, you're a little bit hanging your nuts out there for a multitude of reasons. But man, I was so happy, bro, just because I would take sniper watch in the sniper tower at 3 to 6 in the morning. And I would just sit there, dude, and the morning prayer would kick off, and he'd be like, and I'd be like smoking my cigarette, drinking my coffee, like, fuck yeah, bro. I'm like, finally, you know, dude. I'm like, damn, it's been a long path, man.
Give me a fucking reason.
I just was so happy to be there. I just felt right, you know. So, you know, I didn't care what I was doing as long as I was like training, working, and, you know, being away from the flagpole is nice because we're on our own, man. You know, there was, you know, where we brought 5,000 cash each. There's no galleys or, you know, you're eating off the local population with cash. So we would send our interpreters in to buy fucking chickens, and I would eat a half chicken a day, and I'd go eat with the counterterrorism unit.
You got to kill the chicken?
No, pretty much, bro. But all, you know, everything's, you're not eating vegetables because it's covered in bugs and stuff. So you're just eating. But I would go over with the counterterrorism unit and sit on, you know, surrounded by 100 cats and flies and eat boiled goat off the ground, bro. I was like, free lunch, bro. It's all good, dude. I was the only one that would go over there, bro, because I was like trying to keep those gains coming in, dude. I was like, I'll eat with the counterterrorism unit, bro. I was all about it.
Oh my God. So it's 9 of you and you're training all these guys.
Yeah. So we would go up to the Capitol and do security for the ambassador.
What's the capital again there?
Sanaa.
Sanaa.
Yeah. So we'd go over to the Capitol and do some.
Can we pull up Sanaa on a map? Sanaa. Sanaa, Yemen.
Yeah.
Just want people to see that. But go ahead.
We were actually kind of in Aden when we were doing that little operation stuff, but the capital's Sanaa. And man, you know, the Houthis were there. There were still a lot of issues with, you know, we're going to chop the president's head off. And there's a lot of, should be, yeah, you see Sanaa right there, kind of up in the middle. And we were down in Aden during this time. Okay. We were down in Aden.
Okay. Where's Aden?
See, down
at the bottom by the port.
Near the water. Yeah, yep. Which is, dude, it's a trip down there. For anybody that doesn't know about Yemen is, dude, first of all, the water's like turquoise blue. You're like, wow. Yeah. And it's filled with trash.
You know? Oh, that's
filled
so
with plastic bags, bro, because they all chew cot. People that don't know about that area of the world, it's like that root. It's like an amphetamine. It's a slight amphetamine, and they put it in their cheek, and it's prolific, bro. Even all the men have had their cheeks expanded permanently because of how much they chew. They'll spend these guys make like $15 a month, and they'll spend $5 on, 5 to 10 on cot, dude. And that's what those plastic bags are. And they come in different colored bags for the quality, and it's everywhere. Everybody chews it every fucking day. We've all tried it. It's not that strong. It's a little bit, but they just love it so much. And so that's all the trash bags you see there. But also the ruins, man, right? Because the English were there for years, bro. French, dude, they're the ruins up in the amount of war that's been going on there for years. And it's like, you see the old, Ottoman stuff or whatever sent out there, dude. It's crazy how much history's there. So it's powerful, bro, that whole area.
How much did you guys get, before you went there, read in on, I would imagine a lot, but read in on the intelligence of what's happening on the ground and what maybe the outside of what you're actually doing, training these guys, what the long-term objectives vis-a-vis
you
the
have
United
some.
States
We got
were.
strategic briefs, right? We'd have some strategic briefs from the intel departments, and then we were working with CIA guys there also.
So they're there with you.
Yeah, they'd come into camp with us, and we'd be doing
nice little bags of cash and everything.
We were ripping dudes' phones and shit, dude. Yeah, they're coming in and talking to those guys is pretty interesting. Some of their stories, what they're doing in the capitals and some of those, drinking and this and that, and they have parties on the stills, and people come in with their little thing and then take it off, and they're fucking, in their designer clothes. It's an interesting world, and yeah, man. And so that was the whole process. There was building it up. Not to mention we have, you have some of the tier 1 units coming in and they're doing their stuff and scoping it out because they're using it as a lily pad,
lily pad?
Yeah, kind of like a to leapfrog to,
understood.
Little lily pad, because they're coming from Djibouti, right? So a lot of those, they just fly right across the little channel there in a helicopter and see what's up. And so that was that situation. And coming back from there, felt good, man. So right downtown, and now we're kind of kicking back off, going into another workup. And, I had a couple little friction points with getting arrested once, coming back. And
how long were you in Yemen?
7 months, about.
Okay, so
6 and some change.
So you come back, and now you're getting into trouble.
Yeah, once, but then, right the ship, little kind of incident downtown, and then right the ship, and then locked on as fuck. Then this year going into this, I was like, peaking as far as my professionally. And this is what I say, when you're peaking, bro, be careful, because that's when you have to lock it on even more. And that's what I learned. That's what I fucking preach and bang the drum on.
You're starting to think your shit doesn't stink.
Yeah, and you just lose perspective of what got you there, right? Yeah. What got you to the peak. You start to get a little, those speed wobbles, and the momentum was picking up looking back. I was so focused on, and I was getting accolades and attaboys and early promotions. Now I was like the earliest promoted out of my group. I was already, in E6 pretty much in less than 4 years. And now I'm up for like an LPO position or whatever. I'm like, bro. And 2 weeks after my promotion, I get arrested for that shit in the bar.
What happened there?
So I hit a guy in a bar. One time, man. That's all it takes, right? One time, one decision like that.
Why'd you hit him?
He said something smart, on the way out, dude. And it had been building all night. Come to find out, I didn't know why the situation was. I was in town by myself in Idaho on a JTAC trip, and I was there on a date with a chick who he didn't like the fact I was there with her. Oh. Yeah, and so that was the backstory. Yeah. And so I didn't really understand that kind of. But like I said, I'm no victim. I read the situation was tense. I didn't give a fuck. Didn't leave, right? There was multiple times where I could have not put myself in a bad situation, right? And then walking out, he like kind of, gave a little, kind of one of those things. And dude, I just no look hit him once. And he went down like a sack of potatoes. But I broke his orbital eye socket, so it was a grave bodily injury. He went down. I had to pay for his surgery. He almost lost his eye, man. Like, it was like a whole thing. He's fine. He's fucking fine. He's fine. And but dude, I went to jail. Now I got aggravated assault. Now I have them sending people.
So they arrest you there.
Yeah. So it was toast for me. The card on file. I knew I was toast. And
do you get kicked? Like, this is what blows my mind. Apparently, you didn't get kicked out of the Navy SEALs for this.
I was fighting the case. So technically, I'm not convicted of anything yet, right? So that was I was like, dude, I can't take a felony, which was actually the leverage, because, bro, I was willing to risk 15 years in prison, which is what the fucking maximum was for not a felony. That's how serious I took my SEAL career. Because if I took a felony, I was done.
You're done.
I was toast. So I was like, well, they're going to pay me in the corner. I have to take it to the fucking box. I got to take it to trial.
What was SEAL leadership saying about all this?
They were like, because they saw it on video, dude. I had, it was on video. I had to go to boards, and everyone's like, oh, man.
Nice shot.
They're like, damn, well, at least your SEAL skills aren't in question, bro, because it was a brutal punch. It was like one of those times where you you hit a baseball and it feels like nothing. That's when I was like, oh, no. I didn't have a scratch. My hand was fine. It was one of those.
Oh, clean shot.
It was like, too clean. So I got demoted, right? I took a demotion. Now I'm like pulled out of the platoon for a little bit, but then they're starting to see, I went to the little anger management classes and stuff, and they see, dude.
You went to anger management classes?
Yeah. I was like, hey, can I go to anger? I was trying to show, I was trying, man, for the courts.
That's not Navy SEAL anger management. That's regular.
Well, no, I went and talked to the psychologist for Naval Special Warfare.
Oh, no shit.
I was doing all that shit and getting down to the roots, man. Yeah. Why I'm so angry, apparently.
God, so many feelings bottled up.
So many feelings, man. But they saw that, okay, it was kind of dragging along, and they said the plea deal was 6 + 3, 6 years in prison plus 3 was my plea deal. So
that's what they offered.
Yeah, and they offered. And I said, well, I can't do that. Plus, I'm getting sued by the guy for like a fucking $500,000 at the time. So I got stressed for days, bro. I'm like, man, I'm stressing. But they allowed me to keep training. But meanwhile, I'm still flying back to Idaho for these court dates. And they keep kicking the can down the road. And this is like the divine intervention of stuff. The judge retires. So they have to kick the can down the road a little more. Then another judge picks it up. Now the lawyer who really wanted my ass, he quit. He quits and goes somewhere else. There's like all these things happening in my favor, which I didn't understand at the time. I have a really expensive attorney in Idaho who's like a badass. John Cox, I love you, bro. And he was like, plugged in through some contacts, even in SEALs, who are connected. But I paid a lot of money. I was hemorrhaging a lot of money, but it was worth it. So I get to the point where I'm about to go to Iraq.
Oh shit! So they're getting you on a workup during all this.
Oh, dude, I'm during a workup, man. And so it was the last day of our workup where that happened. One of the last times. So I'm going to Iraq, bro, and it's like coming down 2-3 weeks. We're leaving, And I go to court and I go, here's the deal. Team 7 had written a letter. They're like, hey, we need this guy's quals in Iraq. So the courts go, we'll let him go to Iraq. He can deal with it.
God bless America.
Yeah, they go. And so, hey, man, I love Idaho, man. That was some good old boy shit because
oh my God,
they let me go on bail. I'm still technically on bail, bro. And so I went to Iraq on bail.
To another country.
On a felony charge, bro, into Iraq. And that was, dude, I have, during that whole deployment, bro, and we'll get into the deployment a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dude, I was stressing, bro. Dude, because I had all these dudes are looking forward to getting back. Dude, I volunteered to stay 3 more months. I did, dude. I volunteered to stay.
No, you don't understand. I can't go home.
I was all the first month back, I had to go to court. A trial, jury trial, facing 6 years in prison. And I was like fucking stressed. I thought about joining the Kurdish Peshmerga and just staying out there, bro. I thought of everything, bro. I was sitting out there on the roof, bro. So when they flew us in, the whole thing was we were supposed to meet with the Sunni tribal fighters who had been displaced from ISIS.
Now, wait a minute. This is like 2015?
This is prepping for the Mosul offensive. So this
is when ISIS is like...
Yeah, so we were inserted with like very minimal information. We were in a Green Beret, like in technically Kurdistan, living in tents, about ready to leapfrog up towards the forward line of troops, and start linking with the Sunni tribal fighter sheikhs, 3 different tribes who had been displaced, all their towns by ISIS, and to go use them, link with them, figure it out, and then go start taking back over these fucking villages. Who their women and shit were still there. Right?
Oh my God.
It was like crazy, bro. So, but we're technically not an assist, technically, right? So it's this weird gray area legally because it's Obama. And so they're like, well, you can't really like be there technically. It was a very weird, I don't even know how legally it was all supposed to go down, but we're there. And so that's the Pentagon side. Who the fuck knows, right? Because all I know for sure is we're getting shot at, taking rockets. I don't know what they fucking called not assisting, but so is... We found this old ISIS like storage facility that had ordnance in it. They're just like old mortars and shit. So we just cleaned it all out with, EOD and stuff, and then turned it into our fucking base, man. It was, maybe 2 kilometers, away from the forward line of troops, the first trenches and stuff. And we started building out this base, cleaned it out, really turned it into something kind of cool, put in a landing area for some drones and built the walls out and the HESCOs. Mind you, we're doing all this like fucking slave work, bro. We got no heavy equipment. We had no vehicles at the time. They gave us up armored G-Wagons that were from Afghanistan, dude. We're all fucked up. So we were rolling around in Mercedes. It was just not the deal. So finally we start getting, the Nissans in and the Tacomas and start up armored stuff. And we started building out the vehicles and building out all the armor and the walls, and that's really what we did, man. We worked our ass off. Still, every once in a while, we'd take Katushka rocket, it's right, didn't hit our base, not far, but they knew we were there. They knew shit was going on. It was kind of sketchy in that the security was minimal at the time. It was just us. It was a handful of dudes. It was 8 dudes at first. So
just 8.
It was 8, but SEALs, and then we had probably 3 or 4 support staff guys, support CBs and mechanic. And
you're just dropped in the middle of
and so we're just building it up slowly. We're going to end up probably handing it off to a Marine unit or something after, and then they would leapfrog forward for some more stuff. Soon we got the rest of the platoon out, and then we were plussed up. It was after maybe 3 or 4 months. Then we had the full 16. So then we probably had 20 guys. Then they would start, and then as we built the rooms out, they had some drone guys come in, and we built out the talk, and then it started to turn into like a full-on operation by the time we left.
It's amazing that you're doing all this, because, this was a crazy time. There's all kinds of intricate things going on. You guys are very autonomous on the ground, have to make this happen for the people coming after you, set it up, and you're like thinking about a fucking 9-year prison stint.
Bro, it was hard to stay. It was hard to stay present, and that was a dark time for me, man. I was, there's moments I wasn't at my best, and it was, but I was a tribal lead, so because I'm an advent Laden specialist, so
English.
So I like kind of that low visibility, vet and spies, kind of that stuff. I went through the whole pipeline for that specialty training of, how you teach guys how to draw maps and where to hide them and that shit. So that was one of my specialties. is because I can talk to people, right? Because I'm good at that whole world. And so I was a tribal lead. So I would meet with him, all the time. And then I started getting him to show me maps. Where is he from? How are we where are your guys? Okay, where are your best guys? And then I would train them. I would go train these guys multiple times a week. And they had like 300 guys. I honed it down to about 50 that were like good, that were safe.
Yeah.
And then we started kind of getting these ops together. Meanwhile, we're also building target packages for close air support. We're dropping a fuck ton of ordnance, man. I mean, we think with the ordnance and stuff, not small arms, we killed predicted about like 2,000, 3,000 guys with all the stuff, with all the SEAL troops, not just in our area, but with SEAL Team 7 who was there at that time, right? That's the number I heard. Who knows if that's exactly accurate? I don't know. But we were dropping a lot of shit, building target packages and doing all that from the talk, from also out on where it's like trench warfare. There's like trenched in, man. It was like, and then dead space in between. And so going across that was all mined. So,
oh my God.
So one night we come across, we're walking across, we're telling these guys like, look, man, this is the path to go, man. And they thought we were kind of fucking lying, dude. Next thing we know, dude's fucking torsos flying by and just step on it was a hectic
what guys
night.
Are these?
Our tribal fighter guys.
Oh my
God. That was a whole fucking thing. And, the trust factor. They're like, what the fuck, these guys? And, things get lost in translation. And so it was hectic, man. It was hectic, but they want air support. They know we're there for that. They want guns. They want air support. That's all they really fucking care about.
Where was this base again?
This was at kind of outside of Makmur, if people are familiar.
Can we try to pull that up? Makmur,
so
is
it's
that
like
M-A-Q?
M-A-K-M-U-R, I think is how you would...
M-A-K-M-U-R, Iraq. Let's try that.
Yeah,
I just want to see where
So that'll
it
be
is.
like the western tip of Kurdistan, and because Kurdistan's not technically a country,
okay.
so it's...
That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, you see it's kind of right in the middle there.
Yeah, let's zoom out on that. That's perfect. Just so people can see where this is. Just zoom out. Beautiful. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, so Mosul's up there.
Yeah.
Just northwest.
Yep.
And then, yeah, this is why I wanted to see it, because I wanted to ask you about that, because you mentioned the Peshmerga and everything.
Yeah.
A lot of people that I'll talk to don't understand that there's like millions of Kurds who don't have a country, but they operate in their like autonomous regions around southern Syria, northern Iraq, and they have this badass army called the Peshmerga and everything who works with the United States all the time.
They love us.
And they still don't have a country and everything.
Dude, the Kurds were fucking awesome to us. They take pride in keeping Americans safe. They're very westernized. Erbil, man, we'd go to the mall and then be at the forward line of troops, mixing it up a little bit in the same day. It's a trip, man. And the Kurds, we had Kurdish interpreters, and they had AKs, bro, that who knows how many guys some of those guns have taken out. These would be like their grandpas. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm being serious. Like, and they would keep the guns as the soul of it.
Yeah.
Tough. Too organized, very solid, very cool, very hospitable with us, eating with them and whatever. So Kurdistan it's not an autonomous country, but it's definitely protects its own borders.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's also the strategic difficulty with Kurdish, because they only have vested interest in their Kurdish border. We don't. So we would be like, hey, we're going to keep pushing out. They're like, nah, we're good. And I get it. They're like, why? We don't need to fucking keep going.
Yeah.
So there was that piece too, is kind of getting them. So that's why we had the Sunni tribal fighters. But that's also why we're working with the Kurdish Peshmerga. Sometimes I need to go shoot with these guys, and I got to do it in Kurdistan. They don't want the Sunni tribal fighters there. So I would have to be, driving a truck with like 60 tribal fighters, not in one truck, but like, I'd have 30 guys in one truck behind me in a stake truck that I'm borrowed from the Peshmerga, going through checkpoints, bro. Like,
oh my God.
They're like, what's about? I'm just like,
don't worry about it.
It's all good. It's not like I was hiding, but I was definitely, we're not rolling through, telling them exactly what we're doing. So it was interesting times looking back, difficult times, frustrating times. You have, you feel like you're kind of dogs on the chain. You have all these ROIs. You're not getting approvals for drops, rules of engagement.
Oh, right.
So, you're out there doing a job and you don't feel like you got all the support. You don't feel like, you're being totally let. But still,
why was that?
Man, because you knew we could have killed a lot more people. Right.
But you felt like because it wasn't declared a war.
Yeah. They're like, you're technically, they don't want, guys in fucking Solomons and no uniforms getting fucking killed. They're like, what the fuck are these guys doing out there? We came back one time, me and a guy, an officer. I was going to sit with the general on one of these operations because I'm a JTAC. So I was going to go to Erbil, where there's the military, big presence of the United States military there next to the international airport. We drove by ourselves, as me and another dude, an officer, and we're, big ass mustaches, civilian clothes, whatever, just driving with our M4s through checkpoints is, a couple hours from the little fob we were at back to this, tactical operations center. And I come to the gate, this fucking dude at the gate, he goes, who are you guys? Where are you guys coming from? We're like, we're SEALs out in the fucking thing. He goes, we got guys out there? I was like,
shit.
I was like, bro, it's like some, E2 and at the fucking gate. I'm like, bro, these guys aren't getting briefed up, dude. Like, we got fucking guys hopping out here. It was, but cool, but good. Cause I like to be away from the flagpole a little bit, but man,
away from the flagpole.
Yeah. Just kind of away from the main base. I had never been on a deployment really with the main base. The Legion, it kind of changed a little bit, but that was it, man. And I was looking forward. Everyone's getting ready to come back, bro. And I'm fucking going back to a felony trial, bro.
You're having like hookah with a Peshmerga general around the fire going, so can I stay?
I thought about it, man. I'd be sitting there going, it's bad, bro.
But this is all ahead. So the Mosul offensive against ISIS, that did happen in 2015, right?
That did.
Was that 2015?
2016.
It was 2016.
Yeah.
So this is all right before that.
Right
you
before.
Go back.
We were right at the end of 2015. It was like in 10 months later or next year.
And SEALs took part in that.
Oh,
though.
yeah. Yeah, we had.
Was that Team 7?
Yeah, we had guys. We had, people go down and shit that next year in that area.
Yeah, that shit was crazy. You ever seen the drone shots in the year after that? Of Mosul,
pretty wild, bro.
Oh my god,
dude, that Mosul just around that whole city, dude. There was entrenched, cemented in, belt-fed machine gun positions.
Yeah, actually, Murph, can we pull up? There's a video on YouTube. Type in Vice Mosul drone. I've shown this on a few podcasts. I use it in the intro on Ryan Tate number 117 as well. Mosul drone rubble Vice. Yeah, as long as we get those keywords, I'll be able to tell you. Yeah, first one right there. Right here. Yeah, hit that, and let's get that. Let's get that on the screen. You can turn the volume down on that. That's fine. But there, like when you see this, I think this is the right one. Yeah, yeah. You can turn it down all the way down. Cool. And then let's just let this play. But you can,
dude. Some of the crazy things that predators can do, bro, are like, dude, we'd be targeting a guy and we'd have him on feed and they'd be running and they'd fucking, you kind of hear, they even the way high up, they'd be like, or they maybe get the hair standing up on the back of them and they'd run underneath balconies, bro. And these Hellfires, bro, just underneath into their fucking, into their house, bro. Underneath the balcony where it's crazy, man.
Just such a nuts time too. Like I remember that summer 2014 with the Daniel Pearl stuff and what was it, Jihadi John, the guy who was cutting off everyone's heads.
Yeah.
And you just see like you literally, it was so crazy that you had like Al Qaeda over there. Like the guys took down the towers like, yo, listen, those motherfuckers be crazy.
Yeah.
We're not that. All right. We're gonna chill over here. They're like, those guys? Nah. That's like, that is so fucking wild to me because you read these accounts and stuff. Like, I read this book, I think it was called The Last Girl by Nadia Murad. She's a Yazidi.
Okay.
So, I mean, you were over there, you know the deal. There's 1.5 million of Yazidis. The women were sold into sex slavery if they weren't killed. The men were rounded up and genocided by ISIS and whatever. And when I read her story, it's heartbreaking. She ended up winning a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this all forward and whatever and surviving. But like it was one of the first times I read something where I really thought to myself, these guys actually aren't human.
Yeah.
Like they literally like even when you read like of the awful Nazi stuff, like you have those thoughts. This almost felt worse because these guys were also like so fucking stupid. That was the other thing. Like they were just so dumb. They were not on a level with anyone I've ever talked with, and they had these beliefs that then
blinds me even more.
Yeah, it just blew my mind. And you're out there and seeing this up close.
Yeah.
Every day. Like was there a thought like, all right, I was ready for war, but this is insane.
Well, I think that you really just, you can't even identify with them, right? So it just makes what you're doing so simple where you're at. You're like, dude, these are just people I don't identify with. I didn't really see them like that, you know? So I just get you disconnect. Like, man, fuck these people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Fuck them. So it's just like absolutely no issues with what we were trying to do there and what, you know, the whole overall strategy was there. And
with the Peshmerga, I'd imagine they had a pretty similar attitude.
Man, they'll chop those motherfuckers' heads off and put them on their back of their body. Right? They do, right? And they got no problem with it. Those guys are tough, man. Tough dudes, and they got no issues with what they're doing there.
Yeah, and they, you know, we talked about it a little bit, but it's literally like they just don't have lines on a map.
Yeah.
But they have their part of the map. It's so bizarre to me because I think about it like, imagine if Florida and like Louisiana was just like, yeah, we're not going to pay taxes to DC anymore. We're just right down here.
Yeah.
But they're still Florida and Louisiana. Yeah. Like it would make no sense.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing with Iraq and Syria. They're just like, no, we're good. That we have our own military, which is effectively, that's like their government, right?
Yeah.
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 Crazy.
There's also support from the United States, obviously. Right?
Yeah.
We have a military base in their capital, right? A massive international airport, right? And with huge military presence. Massive, right? And so we're obviously supporting it in some way, but we're not gonna really institute the lines because, you know, that's gonna just create more friction in that area than it already needs to be.
That's so
They don't really give a fuck about the lines though. They just want their autonomy, and if they're kind of left in there and whatever. Those guys were fighting Saddam for fucking years. They call some of those guys, you know, there was one guy, Lion of Erbil, man. These guys are
Lion of Erbil.
Yeah, dude, he's just like a commander out there, bro. A Kurdish commander who's just been fucking getting after it since Saddam. And now just new people, right? He's just, and we'd be in his house, just tough, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No.
Very, that's a cool cultural experience you got. Like,
yeah, I'm really
like
grateful for it.
Them.
Yeah, going in there and just eating with them and kind of sitting there feeling the vibe. I have a real love for the Kurds, man. They were great to us.
But now you go home and you're facing 6+3.
Yeah, man.
How soon is the trial? Like you land back in the U.S.?
I volunteered to stay in Iraq.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
So that actually helped because it kicked the can down the road.
So you stayed longer.
So I was going to stay longer, then they canceled it. But because the court date already got kicked, I had a little buffer. So I had like a 3-4 month buffer. So, but then, you know, I'm still training, I'm rocking and rolling and still going. Now the trial comes. So I'm like, all right, I guess I go up there. So I'm up there, I go in my dress blues, I feel like I'm walking the plank. I go out to the strip club the night before. I'm fucking, you know, I'm like walking the plank. I'm drunk still, dude. In my dress blues, I'm like getting ready for trial. I dead serious. I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm just let's do this thing.
What's your lawyer saying to you?
Bro, he calls me. Well, he calls me and he goes, hey, there he is. He goes, where are you? And I'm like,
taking a shit.
Yeah, I was. And I was in my dress blues. And I'm sitting there and he's like, you coming down here? I'm like, yeah, I had like fucking be down there in like 15 minutes. And he's like, well, we got good news. And I said, what is it? And he said, we got misdemeanors. I said, all right, I'll sign it. Because I was like, any misdemeanor I'll take. He goes, but they're maxed out. So they gave me 2 misdemeanors, maxed out formal probation, which is 4 years of like all these stipulations. And you got to pay this guy all the restitution in a check like fucking now.
How much is that?
It was like my whole Iraq check pretty much.
Oh my God.
Of just restitution. He was still suing me, by the way, civilly.
Oh, so that's, oh my God.
That's still going on.
Separate.
This is criminal. So yeah, so I was like, he goes, or it's going to be a felony. I said, fine. So I sold my truck, all my Iraq check, and just wrote this guy a check. They gave me 4 years. I had to still serve some time, mind you.
How much time?
Just a few weeks. So I did
nothing.
So I did a few weeks in Idaho with all the felons again. As an active duty SEAL, I took vacation to go fucking to jail.
What is the command saying about?
Like, I just kind of dipped out, bro. I was
good.
handling it so smooth, and with and attorneys, and I had my letters organized. I'm like, hey, I just got to go away a couple weeks, and they're like, oh, but it was between a cell. It was between a cell. It was like things were falling so perfectly because it wasn't like I was missing work. We had like a 2-week break, and it just fell right in that area, and I'm like, okay. And then I took a little bit of extension, so it was really like seamless. And I fucking get out. I had my top secret security clearance pulled. I have some good letters saying, hey, here's what's the situation. I get it back. So I get a top secret security clearance back. Get out of jail. Top secret security clearance back.
3 weeks in jail.
I'm on 3 weeks in jail. Locked down again. And
3 weeks is a lot better than 4 months.
Yeah. So 3 weeks is okay. And well, there you know. Now I'm back in the training cycle. Now I'm fucking like, I can't believe this.
You're right back. Like,
Dude,
holy shit, I'm alive.
I can't believe this, bro.
I'm sorry. When you go to jail, now it's not like you're a 22-year-old little bit of a fuck up. Now you're like a badass Navy SEAL with multiple deployments.
30-year-old SEAL. With
what are the cops saying? Like, hello, sir, welcome.
Bro. No, they're like, hey, what's up, man? And I get along with people, and I get right on program. Dude, I start working out. I start doing my thing, and I just, I can assimilate real easily into an institution super well. But it was good. They're like, hey, well, cool. And they didn't even, here's the thing, they didn't even put me in handcuffs. They said, we're not going to put him in handcuffs. Because I came in my dress blues. They were super cool with me. They didn't put me in handcuffs. And it was a little bit different the second time around. No,
oh, my God.
So I went in. So they were super respectful with me. And that was not a bad process at all. Got out, and now I'm back in it. And it was fucking amazing. And I'm locked on as fuck. I'm not allowed to drink. Not allowed to do drugs. Obviously, I'm in the military anyway, but I had a formal probation officer. They could test me at any time for anything. Mm-hmm. I technically couldn't leave San Diego without permission, which was weird. I couldn't own a weapon, which is weird. So, but
you can use a weapon.
Yeah. So there was a lot of weird gray stuff, but it was so gray and weird, and everybody knew it was, that it was like I'm on an interstate compact transfer because technically I wasn't supposed to leave Idaho, so that had to get approved.
Oh shit.
So there was like a lot of moving parts, but they were like, so. I was actually kind of just left to my own devices, and I was locked on as fuck for like a month. That's like a month. And that's the thing. And it wasn't like, yeah, this was 2016. And it wasn't like I was just like fucking off. Like I was like, bro, I got to like keep it locked on. It's like I hadn't built my self-worth yet in my disciplines. Like I hadn't understood the bigger picture. I wasn't operating out. I was still selfish, man. I wasn't thinking about the team. I wasn't thinking about what some of these fuck ups were causing work wise for other people. I just was too immature in that capacity. I needed more to learn more apparently. And I did. And so 3 months later, the momentum started picking up again. I started going out with chicks again. I was like isolated for like a month, and then it kind of started getting loose. And then I'm at a concert, and I get in a golf cart. I'm drunk, get in a golf cart that's like the county fair, and I'm like driving around the parking lot. I'm like, fuck it, dude. The cops stop my fucking golf cart. Here's how fucking stupid this shit is. I'm in no shirt, I'm all tatted up, blasted, like all jacked. And I go, oh shit, dude, they're gonna run my name. I'm on fucking formal probation. I'm drunk, right? I need to get, and so they're like, hey man, what the fuck? I'm like, hey, yeah, just gonna, and I fucking bolt.
Oh, you bolted?
Yeah, I bolted. And they fucking tried to tackle me. But I was like jacked at the time, dude. I fucking got up, shed him off. They sicked the dog on me.
They put the dog.
They sicked the dog on me. So I got a dog attached to my ass. I still got a scar on my ass attached to my ass. I'm fighting this dog off. I get the fucking dog off me. I fight him off, and I fucking.
Oh, Mike would not be happy about that.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah, and so he was. It was poor training. The dog's not bred well. Mike, love you, man. And hopped it. Now they hit me with a bunch of tasers. They hit me with the.
I was waiting for it.
So they started hitting me with the tasers. Takes about 3 to get me down. I yanked the first 2. They get me with the third one.
You yanked off
yeah, dude. And I'm like, this is going down with like 100 people watching at a fucking Jimmy Buffett concert. You can't make this shit up, dude. With that shit playing in the background, like the juxtaposition. And so they come down, boom. I'm getting all the love. I'm getting blasted in the face, and I'm covered in dirt and blood. And I go, okay. And they put me in the back of the car, and I knew I was fucked. I was like, fuck. Damn, that came fast. I did not see that coming. And like I said, it always comes when you don't see.
Not even in the golf cart.
And I was like, dude, it was just such a chill day. And then it was not. And I'm like, fuck. And that's what I say, man. You think you can control all these things, but if you're not living right and doing right, or you're stacking karmic debt, you're gonna fucking get smashed. And
but now you think you're coming out of the SEALs.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm fucked. I knew it was like, I was in the back. I didn't even try. I said, call SEAL Team 7. Let's rock and roll. Let's just tell them what's up because I'm fucked. Right. I was normally would try to kind of keep it like and deal. No. I went right full tilt. I had the cops call the fucking SEAL command. And that's what I did. And it caused the avalanche of shit because now I'm fighting a fucking felony probation violation on a violent crime on technically a police officer.
Wait, why is it a felony if it was a misdemeanor?
So it was a violent crime still because it was a battery, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm on an aggravated assault charge. They charged me aggravated assault, which it wasn't. But it wasn't like I hit anybody. It just in me getting up, they called it kind of a thing. It ended up all getting dropped though. But here's the thing: that divine intervention, man.
Again.
So because I didn't really do anything other than just try to get away, right? But I hadn't really committed a crime. I didn't do anything, and I didn't hit anybody or nothing. So it was, and I worked some contacts and some people, and I go to the court, and they threw it out, gave me a misdemeanor, like fucking disturbing the peace or something, you know?
You just like won't die, bro.
And I got a good attorney again. I hemorrhage money on attorneys, bro. That's one thing I don't short stroke, bro.
You got Saul Goodman out there?
I go, dude. And so now I'm hemorrhaging cash. That still violates the probation in Idaho. So I have federal marshals in a van trying to extradite me from California, an active duty SEAL, illegally, because they said I had a warrant, which I took care of. So I have 2 lawyers talking. My girlfriend at the time was an attorney. So they're talking to all these people, bro. I got attorneys calling it was an absolute connecting with the governor of California and all this because they're trying to do legal shit. It's like a trail of emails and people have been done fucked up things. And so they were trying to protect their ass. And
oh my God.
So I go to talk to, we get it all figured out, right? I get it all figured out. Then I pitch to my attorney. I go, dude, can I just get off probation in there and serve more time? I already know I'm fucked. And he goes, they pitched it, they accepted it. So I go back up to Idaho, serve more time, same place. A year later to the day, I'm back in that same pod, in that same jail, but now I'm on the way out, right? Now I know I'm on the way.
How much time?
I do another 3 weeks. So,
3 weeks to get rid of 4 years probation.
Boom.
I'll take that deal.
I took it in a minute. Because the judge was like, my attorney goes, can't we just have him serve some time and get this guy off our books, judge? And the judge is like, yeah, fuck it. So it actually, surprisingly enough, I walked out of jail. Now I signed my DD-214. I'm out. I took a general discharge, right? Because I didn't actually get kicked out for that. Because technically I still didn't commit a bad enough crime to get kicked out. What kicked me out was I failed a steroid test.
In the middle of all this.
So they Navy JAG saw this and they saw I'm getting out of this again. They're like, this fucking guy. They're like, fuck this guy. NCIS and Navy JAG, they teamed up and they're like, dude, we're fucking gonna grill this dude. So they threw the book at me, hit me with every drug test in the book, passed.
Except steroids.
Then they go, we're going to fucking steroid test him, which is kind of unheard of at the time. No one had even gotten steroid tested at that time. But you can't just test for steroids. They sent it and paid thousands of dollars to send it to the UCLA Olympic Testing Center. So they fucking spent all this money and I failed, lit that motherfucker up.
How long have you been taking steroids?
Probably a couple years. I really wasn't. So it wasn't like going through all the selections. Never took anything. Never. Because you can't be big, man. I was like, but after, so maybe like a year. Like a year.
You know what's crazy though? Like it is a drug, and like you're supposed to get this whole system and everything. Yeah. But at the same time, this isn't fucking baseball, right? Like,
yeah, you're not.
You guys are warriors where you have to go out and kill people. Like, if my Navy SEALs are taking steroids, I'm not upset about that.
You know, it was what I knew it was. I knew it was, and this is what they asked me in the board. And I'm always pretty good in boards because I'm like, I'll take it on. I'll fucking own it. Like, I don't try to get away. I go, yep. They go. What would you say? I said, well, if you're willing to fucking risk out everything, then fucking do it, right? For me, it was important enough. I'll do it. I probably would have done it again. Right. That's the truth, man. But all the dumb extra shit I was doing, that wasn't smart. And I brought all the heat on myself. I'm no victim. I had that. And I had that moment where I had a fake dick in my locker.
A fake dick.
Yeah. I had a fake dick to like take a piss. And I was like,
oh,
You know,
That just,
yeah,
that
not
just
like
went
that. Yeah. Ding, ding. You're like, where's this going, man? You're like, where's this going, bro?
What did they had a name for that? The Whizzinator?
The Whizzinator.
The
I had a
Whizzinator.
Whizzinator, bro. And fucking, and I looked at it and I had this moment where, dude, and I was in the dumps, bro, at this time. I was
It
hurting.
wasn't a black one, was it?
No.
right.
No, I church it up a little bit. Foot long black dick. They're like, what the fuck? They're like, this guy don't give a
I'm biracial.
This guy don't give a fuck. I'm black from the waist down, man. You know? And you know what? I put it away and I went, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. And I just had this like, let's charge the machine gun nest moment where I was like, dude, I've earned this. Let's rock and roll. And I did, man. And failed. Failed that motherfucker hard. And you know what? That was it. And so I got another attorney. So now I have 3 attorneys while I'm still fighting this case. So I'm fighting the Idaho case, civil and criminal. I'm fighting San Diego, and I have a military attorney. So I'm just fucking poking
So
holes
do
in
you
the bucket.
fail this before you do that 3 weeks?
Yeah. This was at
Okay.
the very beginning. This was
Okay,
like in
got
the
it.
first 3 weeks.
Got
So
it.
all this was kind of happening. Now I start prepping a job on the outside. I know I'm getting out. So I prepped a pretty good fucking situation. Had prepped residential real estate development supervisor position with the largest private residential developer in the United States on the largest project in the United States. So I had fucking like used my contacts well. I've always been very good about maintaining relationships. And you know what? So I felt okay I went to jail and I was getting out happy, man, because I was going DD 214. I was done with the military. I mean, I had no reserve time, nothing. I was done.
Is it dishonorable discharge though?
General. I took a general. That was the deal because I had a good attorney. And they said, hey, if you just admit to the steroid thing, we're going to give you, because they tried to give me an OTH. Actually, they're going to give me an OTH. But the commanding officer of SEAL Team 7 said, this guy doesn't deserve an OTH, man. He's
2 deployments.
He's got the power to cap it up 1.
Yeah.
That was a bro move. I fucking love that dude for that. It really helped me.
You had a lot of people look out for you.
Yeah, man, I have.
back
And,
there.
you know, and I didn't help anybody out, by some of my decisions. And this is what I feel like I owe people now, is like to fucking be an example now, because of all that
That's
time.
right.
Of all that time, I really just kind of pissed away, got people standing up for me. So, let me tell you, I had some karmic debt to burn, and I earned it later on because I got out. Now I'm out of the military. So now I just started doing Adderall, Xanax, smoking weed while working and being very successful.
What year is this?
This was 2017.
So you run right to like all these substances that you weren't doing at all.
No, no, not at all, because I'm like, I just started doing Adderall, and then because I'm like, oh, I get a lot of shit done with this, and I had done it when I was in high school and shit. I had that when in high school and shit. So I knew it, but I was like, okay, I was rocking and rolling, just super efficient. But then, you're fucking a little bit wired. So now I'm drinking, right, at night. Then I'm doing Xanax at night, right? So it's like that imbalance. So then I'm like, oh, fucking. So then I'm just off balance but still working, still being successful.
Do you think you were like, I understand, okay, I get more done on Adderall, so that's how it starts. And then it starts a spigot and it throws your system off. So you start trying to balance it out and everything. But do you think part of it was, all this shit happens so fast, and you're like, yes, I'll take that deal. I get the general discharge, whatever. We're good. All right. Oh my God, I'm alive. I'm not in prison. We're good. Yeah. But then you're like, your body's just like, whoa, now I got, there's no clear core charge. Like, what are you going to go do? Fucking real estate? Yeah. After being in Yemen and Iraq and stuff and fighting court case, like you were constant adrenaline and now it's just zero.
Yeah. It was part of it was it just made me care fucking more, right? Get more fired up for it and care more. And I, I thought I was living a happy life. I thought I was happy, but looking back, I just wasn't. I had lost my disciplines too. I was, late to stuff. I was fucking not locked on, and I hadn't really established that self-worth through the daily work and the daily steps, which that's the part that I had to learn that was missing. So I was just kind of like doing what I thought and just not being smart. Now my relationship, is getting tense because I'm not good. Man, the fish stinks from the head. You're the leader of the relationship and you're fucking not good. Like it's just not, it's setting an unhealthy environment and big fights. And I was getting violent with people in my life, dude. I was fucking like liability, bro. And then now this time is when I start linking up with some of the cats I showed you in that picture, right?
Before.
So the guy in that picture, we launched a marijuana distribution company. Right? The first year it was legal. in California. So then I'm doing that. I leave that other job. It was a risk. So then we're doing this. Now it was chaotic, building it, whatever. Everybody gets fired, and the big venture capitalist boss sees what I had done, and he goes, "You're fucking staying now. I'm going to pay you. You fucking crushed it." So now I'm in a high rise, pitching decks for millions of dollars, raising millions of dollars, start building out facilities, meeting with congressmen, fucking doing all this shit.
Ripping Adderall and Xanax.
All that shit. And then I stacked fentanyl at night.
What?
For a year straight. Snorting fentanyl every fucking night.
How'd you get into that?
I went tits up like 3 fucking times, bro. The only thing that probably kept me alive is that I was on Adderall every fucking day. Is I was snorting fentanyl every fucking night for a year.
What
didn't miss a day.
Wait, what got you into fentanyl?
I just liked it, man. Like I just liked how it made me feel. Like
you just woke up one day and said, I'll try
here's
this.
the thing, I wasn't partying, so I would here's my people are like, oh, what are you doing, dude? I would work all day. I'd get up at like 4 a.m, take Adderall, get kicking off, fucking cranking, because I was CEO of a fucking marijuana distribution company, man. I had to fucking make some shit.
This is what we do.
I was working my ass off, dude, right? And it wasn't even that. No, it was I had a lot of money involved, a responsibility. Fucking, I was the only one making shit happen, and there was a lot of hectic side stuff too in the business, and the venture capitalist boss, and there was integration with like my relationship there, and there was like a lot of stuff going on around me, and I was also driving all over fucking California trying to make this shit happen. So it was stressful. But it wasn't the stress. It was just I liked how it made me feel. So I was doing all that all day. Then at night, I would go home and do emails and fucking reach out, snort fentanyl until like fucking midnight, then get up at fucking 4 and keep going every day for a fucking year. And you cannot maintain that for...
Yeah, no shit.
And it came crashing down, quite literally. I fucking went down, fucking head smashed on I got a big ass scar across my forehead. And it was the straw that broke camel's back. Like the venture capitalist boss had fucking heard about it. My girlfriend's fucking yelling. She finds me bleeding, bro.
He had heard you were doing fentanyl.
Well, everybody thinks nobody knows, but people know. And so he sat me down and he goes, "Look, man," he goes, "you were an asset, now you're a liability." That's what he said to me. But he was right. And
what year are we in now?
2019.
Okay.
So 2019 May, this is happening, and I'm sitting in this high rise, and I go, "Okay, man, I got the fuck out of here." So I cleaned out my stuff. I said, "All right," and I was pretty much just sent away to Big Island of Hawaii. I went to Big Island of Hawaii where we had some business ventures, like pretty much stay out there. Let's get this shit straight. And there was business stuff we had to coordinate and like before it comes crashing out. So I decided I'm going to get off this shit, right? I'm going to fucking like try to get square. And bro, getting off that was, bro, and guys getting off withdrawals, if anybody's been dealing with this, I know it's like a big thing, bro, just power through. I was hurting, bro. I didn't sleep for a week. I didn't sleep a wink, and I had to take.
Did you go to rehab?
No, I just fucking was like.
You just did this yourself.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just gonna hammer through.
Savage.
Well, I'm gonna hammer through this, and it wasn't smooth because I was still doing Adderall and like drinking and stuff. But I'm like, I need to get off the fentanyl, bro. Right, and so I had to get off, and it was just fentanyl. It was opioids and shit. But if I could get fentanyl, I'd prefer that, right? Because I just thought it hit me fucking harder. So and that was the truth, man. I was just fucking soulless at this point, like hurting, bro, no purpose. Now my world's like, now I have nowhere to point and lie about, right? The girl's gone, the job's gone, the money's gone, the fucking title's gone.
You're alone in Hawaii.
And I'm alone, and now the money's gone, right? So now I'm fucking homeless in my truck, fucking in the jungle, bro.
How many months?
It's like 3 months. It's like 3 months, right? And I thought a job was gonna come, and it was kind of like put out there, but I was pretty much just left out on an island to fucking like, and with kind of told some shit, and it just wasn't going to come. It wasn't going to, I don't think anything was ever going to come. But
it took only a week for you to kick it though.
About a week and some change. But
you're just throwing up like crazy and shit.
It wasn't the throwing up for me. I just couldn't sleep, man. And I was starting to swell up, through hell week. You know what sleep deprivation does. Yeah. I started hallucinating, and I went to the urgent care. I'm like, look, man, I'm a former Navy SEAL. I know what sleep. I'm like maxed out. Like I'm at 5 days here, and I'm like, do anything for me. They gave me some Ambien. Nothing narcotic. It was fine though. That was all I wanted. They hit me with Benadryl. It didn't touch me. I had to go back the next day. I'm like, I need something else. The Ambien at least helped. It got me at like a couple hours of sleep. That's all I needed, and I fucking felt so much better. And then from that point, I didn't really have a problem with it again. That was that. I cut it away. Wow. Also, change your location. It's very hard to get healthy in a place that made you sick, right? You also just have all the contacts. So just separating like that was so powerful because you don't have the people around you to fucking get the shit.
But that willpower to do that on your own, that's where you're built from something different. That's incredible.
Well, I think anybody could do it when especially if you set up your scenario. Now, it's not always possible. They're like, well, if you don't have the money to go out in the fucking woods in a tent, dude, right? Go fucking far away. Separate yourself. You don't have to have money to do it, right?
But there's also people who can die trying to do that.
Maybe,
it's
right?
that strong.
Right? So I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying maybe you could. I don't know about that. I think there's other things you could probably die more. I think with that stuff, I don't know though. For me, I know that it was important. I was going to die anyway, right? If I was to keep doing it, and my boy, Jimmy Watson, love you, Jimmy, who you actually should talk to.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Fucking awesome. He goes, look, man, because he found his brother died of a, overdose one time. He goes, bro, you're right on that path, bro. He's like, God. And that was a heavy thing for you because he's a hardcore dude too. And
was before you went to Hawaii?
Yeah. Right before. And he goes, bro, you're on that path. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I am on that path. So long story short is I get off that. Then the money's gone. Now I had always had I always had the Foreign Legion as like a look red, grab red because
French Foreign Legion.
Oh yeah, because I knew about it as a kid. I don't know how, maybe just in my military studies and stuff, I knew about it. Then when I was getting out of college and I fucking all the military branches were telling me no, I was like, maybe I'll have to go in the Foreign Legion. Oui, c'est ça. And so I go, okay, well, maybe I'll do that. But the truth was that was the last resort. Now I had no more resorts left. So I was sitting in my truck. I had a sawed-off shotgun on my lap. I was going to blast myself. Dead serious.
You were thinking about that.
Oh, I was going to fucking do it, man.
But you're clean off drugs now.
Yeah, well, but it was just lack of purpose.
No money, no woman,
nothing.
No military.
Yeah, nothing. So I was sitting there and I had a sawed-off shotgun on my fucking lap and on the passenger seat, and I was sitting in the jungle for 3 straight days. And now I had nothing, right? And I'm sitting there. I would go little walks on the jungle. And it wasn't a question. I wasn't sad. Now, it wasn't me sitting and crying. It was I was like dead. I was just dead, right? And so that's when I knew it was dangerous. So I sat there, bro, and I call it that authentic voice of God again, was like, listen, you bitch. Pussy ass motherfucker. And I was like, damn, because when I was like, fuck, you're right. Because he was like, listen, think about your mom. Think about your sister. Think about who you leaving, man. You selfish motherfucker. What kept repeating to me was, play back your inner dialogue right now. You sound like a pussy. It's like me, why me, I. And it was exactly that. I was sitting in my own. Depression's a luxury. It really is. If you fucking just sit and fucking think about yourself, man, you're not trying to chug water on your head and like fucking, it's a luxury to sit there and fucking dwell on yourself like that. Yeah. So I had a moment. I went, fuck this. I'm going to the French Foreign Legion. We're doing this thing.
You're sitting in the car with a shotgun and you're like, I'm going to the French
I'm putting
Foreign
this
Legion.
thing down. I'm going to fucking, if I'm going to die, I'm going to do it with my boots on. So I was like, let's fucking rock and roll. Now I took out a couple fast cash loans and then fucking, I was in France 8 days later.
Holy
shit. That's as fucking hard as I made it. But the minute I made that decision, bro, I felt better. It was like a weight was lifted off me.
You needed to think.
I needed also to think. Like people will say stuff like, don't isolate. Sometimes you need to isolate to clear out the noise. Like I needed to get the fuck away from people and sit there in my little pity party for a few days. And then to get clear on what the fuck I need to do. But then move, right? Then take action.
The ambiance of that is pretty wild, though. Like, you're thinking about the worst thing. You're thinking about potentially killing yourself, but you're in your truck that you live in Hawaii, which is a beautiful place, in the middle of the jungle, listening to nature, getting in touch with yourself. You're off drugs now. Yeah. So that's a good thing. Yeah. And you're like, holy shit. All these, like, you're the guy that had, somehow you're running through the trail of IEDs and somehow your foot misses every IED and you're finally like halfway stepped on one, so you're in medical, but you're still not dead. And now you're like, it's almost like you're saying to yourself, I got one more shot here. Yeah. And I'm going to go to the French Foreign Legion.
I'm going to take it. Because here's also a piece, man. I was like, man, I got to fucking do epic shit, man. I was like, I want to write, I want to live a powerful story. I want to pick up the pen and write a powerful story. And it had been a while since I had the story dictated to me, right? By just my circumstance and not living right. Right, going to the SEALs, that was picking up that pen and then kind of like losing and trying to do shit, but it wasn't like speaking to my soul. I'm like, all right, let's make another power move, right? The universe only respects drastic action, man. Drastic action only. Whole ass, no half-ass shit. That's what gets results. So I said, okay, let's rock and roll. And that's what I did, man. And I still had the Adderall to clear out of my system and stuff and weed, you know? And so I knew they were going to drug test me, right? So I go, okay, I'm going to fly to France. I'm going to give myself a week. I know exactly how I can flush. I'm going to just pound water, run, brush up on my French, fucking go, bro.
Did you speak any French?
No.
So you fly to France. Like how soon? Shotgun on the
8 days.
On this 8 days later.
Yeah, 8 days. 8 days. Dropped my truck off, dropped my shit off, and said, I'll be back.
Did you tell your parents?
So I told my mom, I told my dad, I told nobody else, not a soul.
Okay. What'd they say at this point?
My mom was like, okay. She knows how I rock and roll, but she also knew in her heart it was probably the smart decision, right?
Did she know about all the drug stuff?
Well, yeah, because she didn't know all of it, but I told my mom, when I called my mom on that third day, I said, Mom, I'm at rock bottom, but I'm okay. That's what I said to her, verbatim. I said, I'm at rock bottom, I'm okay. I'm parked in my truck in the jungle. I got a plan. She's like, what? But my mom knows, it's great now because things are just amazing. But she's like, that was scary. But I knew you were in a bad spot, but I love to hear you okay, I have a fucking trajectory here. I have a goalpost. So I said it, man, and I fucking showed up, and that was, I felt touching down in France from Hawaii, bro. It was pouring rain, October 2019.
Where'd you fly into?
Paris, because I was going, there's 2 places to check in. Now, the French Foreign Legion, people don't know, is a almost 200-year-old institution comprised of almost all foreigners, and they've fought in almost every war since Algeria to fucking Iraq and Afghanistan.
So fascinating.
And they're comprised of just foreigners. It's modeled after the old Roman legions in that you serve your time and then you can earn citizenship of the country. That's the whole carrot.
All right, let's pause there real fast. We're gonna get deep into this.
Yeah.
I gotta take a piss.
Cool.
I know Marf over here struggling.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we'll be right back.
Perfect.
Real quick, before we get deep in this French Foreign Legion, we were talking about just off camera something else. One of your buddies or something, and you said you knew John McAfee.
Yeah.
How'd you know the billionaire John McAfee?
So I won't get into
didn't kill himself.
Yeah. So I went. So it happened. I did. He's got a nephew who's a team guy, and so I did multiple platoons with him. Yeah, and so, but by chance, I'm in the Vegas Centurion Lounge with a couple chicks, and who walks up to me is John McAfee,
Of course.
and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing?" And just by himself, he goes, "I don't usually walk around with my security." He goes, "My son's, my nephew's a team guy." I go, "Hey," just by chance, I'm in his platoon, right? And so I fucking, long story short, I get out, that guy calls me and goes, "Hey, my uncle," so I had met John McAfee. We exchanged information or whatever. A year later, I'm kicked out of the teams, and a year and some change later, and so that guy knows, and he goes, "Hey, my uncle's looking for somebody," and he already knows me by name, and he goes, "Is looking for somebody to be his personal security detail."
Oh my God.
So he goes, "My green," so then he's having some problem with his security, this and that. So I go, "Okay, well, tell him to call me." I get a call from John McAfee, and he goes, "Hello, do you know who this is?" And I said, "Yeah, John, what's going on, man?" He goes, "Look, my Green Berets are compromised." He's fucking insane, dude. And I go, "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "I need you here in a week." And I go, "Dude, I can't do it. I had already won in the job. I have a girlfriend and this and that." So I go, "Dude, I can't do it." I go, "But my buddy, who I just talked to you about, had just got kicked out the same time I did." Right?
Oh, he got kicked out too.
Well, he got forced medically retired, right? Yeah. He fought it until the very bitter end, 17 and a half years, and he pushed him out.
You sent him there.
So I go, John, "Hey, I got a guy, probably the most qualified fucking dude ever, and he's a great human being." I said, "Yeah, I got a guy for you." So he called him. John McAfee calls me back, this and that. They do play phone tag. I hit John back up to hit him up, and next thing you know, my buddy goes out there with him. Comes to find out, John loves this dude so much, he ends up making him head of security. Then he ends up making him CEO of Team McAfee. So then they got all involved in the crypto stuff. So my buddy's CEO of the fucking crypto company with John for a year and a hat and some change, making tons of money, doing all this stuff. And so that's why he ended up getting wrapped up in that.
Is this when John's on the run? Try and put it together.
They split ways, right, when he goes on the boat and goes on the run. So he was traveling around with John for all over, bro. He in the documentary with him chasing him. My buddy's in that documentary.
Oh, he's in that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he's in it. Yeah, he's the one with the beard and holding the
God.
gun and whatever. That's him. And so he's that whole time, and they had a breaking up and like it was tumultuous, right? Because he'll go into that story, but it's a wild story, bro.
All right, yeah, we got it. That's a great suggestion. We will definitely talk. You have some good suggestions off camera with guys, so we'll definitely talk to him. But anyway, back to you then.
Yeah.
So you land in France after 8 days after Shotgun in the Jungle.
Yeah.
And you said you went for runs and stuff for like a week or something to get your system clean and get everything checked out. And now, how do you join the French Foreign Legion?
Man, I was running up to the Sacré-Cœur and Sacré-Cœur. And I just looked up at the gargoyles, man, and I said a prayer, bro. I was like, look out for me, man. We're doing this. And I just kind of in that state where I was smoking cigarettes, standing on the corner in this Parisian. I had no money left. I was staying in a hostel, like fucking sharing a bunk with this rugby player who was there, and I just was still sipping on vodka the night before I went in just to take the edge off, bro, because I was hurting emotionally. And I didn't even know what I had built up such habit. It's just I was just like, oh, you kind of just do that, you know? And I just floating, rudderless, but I knew where I was heading finally. At least I had a direction, but I was still like, fuck, man, I fucked my life up. That feeling. Yeah. I was still like, damn, dude, I'm just burning in here. But I sent a nice letter to my mom and dad. I said, hey, I organized my administrative affairs and like financial stuff and all that. And I said, okay, here, I'm going in. And I said, man, I'm afraid to make it. I'm afraid to get kicked out, you know, not get taken. But I'm also afraid to make it. Like what my life's going to look like either direction.
What about your criminal record with them? Were you thinking about that being a problem?
Well, I didn't know, right? But I know they take credit. It was kind of built for the French Foreign Legion's kind of built for that. They taken that's what they're kind of taking guys with checkered backgrounds and all that stuff. That was what kind of their bread and butter was, their reputation. For a lot of years, you know, they used to take murderers and criminals and guys, and so that was like their thing. Nice. And well, that was the aura of them, you know. And still now, to get into it, I mean, dude, guys, you get faces blasted with tattoos. Dudes getting checked in, right, for coming out of gulags from fucking some dark hole in Russia. Hardcore motherfuckers, dude. So, but I didn't know what I was walking into because I had read some books. I had done some research. Man, there's like a hardcore reputation of hazing. Dudes dying in Djibouti, getting buried up to the fucking sand and dying. Nice. So I had some fear just in the unknown, but I had painted myself in a proverbial corner. I'm like, this is all I got. This is the epic story. I've never heard of a Navy SEAL being a Legionnaire. Let's rock and roll.
Oh, you said you were saying a prayer at one point. Are you were you a religious guy?
I'm not. I'm not religious, but I have a very solid connection with the higher power, with God, if you want to call it, man. I always felt like there's this guiding force. I always felt like there's this guiding force, this orchestrating force, and I know it when I'm on a line path, and I know I stack karmic debt and get reprimanded heavily when I'm off of it. So I just started, and everybody's got that authentic voice, right? Call it whatever you want, universal, whatever. You know a good decision when you make it. You don't have to negotiate a beautiful decision. That's what I always say. You know, getting up, working out, thinking right, acting right, shit's right. Then you know when you need to, maybe I'll just fucking do this weird shit. It's like, everybody knows.
100%. But it's also crazy how like you, and I can relate this to my own life. I'm sure people listening can relate this to theirs. Like you can get away from that voice. Yeah. And it's not because it's not there. It's because you just consciously ignore it. Yeah. And then suddenly, it's like, you want to call it the universe, you want to call it your gut. I say it's a combination of both. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing, motherfucker? Yeah. And you're like, damn it, you were saying that the whole time. I still did all this shit. But now let's get it right.
You really start tapping into a different energy and the universe starts working for you when you listen to that voice 100%. That's what changed my life, when you go full tilt on just doing the right shit. So that voice was telling me to go fucking bang on this door.
Bang on the door.
So there's only one way to do this shit. It's some Old Testament shit, bro. You go with your one bag, and your fucking passport, and you go knock on a big ass iron gate, dude, like fucking Wizard of Oz.
Can we pull up the French Foreign Legion? This is the one in Paris?
Yeah. Fort Nogent Gate.
Fort Nogent Gate. Let's see what this looks like. So you just go up with your shit.
Yeah, bro.
You got the drugs out of your system now.
Yeah, and I got just civilian clothes, and you just go knock on it, and a guy with a green beret, Legionnaire with a gun, will open the fucking door like, Wizard of Oz, bro. Like, what are you doing here? And you go, Je suis ici pour la Légion. Fucking boom.
And that's it.
And they take your passport and they tell you to get up on the fucking pull-up bar.
They take your passport.
and I didn't see that passport again for 3 years.
Wait. So they.
All right, yeah, we'll get into
it back.
So.
How do you spell the gate?
Oh yeah, how do you spell the gate?
Fort, Nogent.
Nogent.
Yeah.
All right, I want to see this real quick before we go. I want to visualize.
So it's an old medieval. You'll see an old medieval castle, and dude, it's just in like this residential area. It's on the eastern outskirts of Paris. There it is.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
On the money, Murph.
The Legion Étrangère.
All right, let's click one of them to make it bigger. Maybe the second one right there. Yeah.
That's it. Fort Nogent, Legion Étrangère, Foreign Legion.
So wait, there's it's like it's an actual, so there's grass up top.
Oh yeah, that's a big ass bunker. It's a big ass military. It's a military base.
Is there a roof out there? Or is it?
It's a center courtyard. It's like an old castle.
Yeah.
So that separates. It's a small little like guardhouse. Then there's a huge courtyard in the middle, and then in the back is all the barracks rooms.
Understood. Okay, so you knock on this. Je vous play.
Je suis ici pour la Légion.
Okay.
And I Googled it right before I went there. So I have my DD-214. They were going to know I was a SEAL, right? I was going to let them know who I was a SEAL. And
do you have the teeth?
Not yet.
Okay.
So I knock on the gate. Okay, he takes my passport and it tells me to sit down. And the process, then you start your process. And so this process is interesting because there's no application. You're coming in from fucking all over the world, guys from all over the earth. They need to figure out who the fuck you are, right? That's the known evil's better than the unknown evil, right? They don't. So you go in, they give you an IQ test. First, it's pull-up bar. So that was the first fucking thing. And I came in on a Sunday night, Hunter's full moon. It's 2019, October. Sunday night, it was raining. And I like making my shit poetic as fuck.
You're good at that.
I like to make my shit powerful. So I go in, get up on the pull-up bar, and I fucking cranked him out. He goes, get down, all right? Descend. And he had a Russian accent. He a Ukrainian dude. A lot of Eastern Bloc guys.
In the Legion.
Yeah, a lot. So when Ukraine kicked off, shit was interesting for us. So then the IQ test, preliminary IQ test, very basic, fucking math and 5 questions, and then it was wait. So now you're in this waiting game with guys from all over the world in this small ass barracks room, probably 20, 30 guys in this one room, then 20, 30 guys in another room. And that was it. And so we start. The next morning, I'm up, getting my the whistle's going off, and I'm rolling my sheet back up, and that was the moment where I went, fuck, dude, I'm like back in this shark shit on the bottom of the ocean, former Navy SEAL doing halos, and now I'm fucking rolling my sheets back up.
You're at a 0.
34 years old.
Oh, my God.
34, bro. So
how old's the average person coming in there?
So they take anybody 17 and a half to 39 and a half.
But like so who usually comes in?
30s.
Okay.
But they have you have the whole spread, really. You really have the whole fucking spread,
Meaning you're not the only 34-year-old there, though.
No, there was guys older than me, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was fucking done with the bullshit, right? The fuck games. But you got to do what you got to do. So I'm rolling up my sheet, doing my fucking thing. There's, in that room specifically, 2 South Africans, 1 Mongolian, 1 guy from Thailand, 2 from Ukraine, 1 from Belarus, 1 from Lithuania, 1 from Chad, Ghana, and Nepal. Just
how many of them spoke English?
Probably like, the South African and the Nepali guy and then the Lithuanian. That was it.
Oh my God.
So it's an interesting room to be in, and that's how the Foreign Legion is. 150 nations represented in the Foreign Legion.
Wow.
There's only 2 countries you can't join from. It's North Korea and Cuba, I think, still.
Can we actually pull up just the basic Wikipedia page of the French Foreign Legion? I'm just so fascinated.
It's very interesting.
By this.
It's fucking unique as shit.
The history, though, and what it's based off of is so cool to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, let's pull that up.
And so it's a real geopolitical petri dish.
Hit Wikipedia. Yeah. Love it. All right. French Foreign Legion. Let's just read this to people. French Foreign Legion is an elite corps of the French Army that consists of several specialties: infantry, cavalry, engineers, and airborne troops. It was created in 1831 to allow foreign nationals into the French Army. It formed, so that's right after Napoleon, I think, right? Yeah. It formed part of the Armée d'Afrique, the French Army's units associated with France's colonial project in North Africa until the end of the Algerian War in 1962. Legionnaires are highly trained soldiers, and the Legion is unique in that it is open to foreign recruits willing to serve in the French Armed Forces. The Legion is known today as a unit whose training focuses on traditional military skills and on its strong esprit de corps, as its men come from different countries with different cultures. Consequently, training is often described as not only physically challenging, but also very stressful psychologically. Legionnaires may apply for French citizenship after 3 years of service or immediately after being wounded during a battle for France under a provision known as Français Percé. La Verse. How many? 9,000 soldiers is the size. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So okay. So you're in there in this room
spread all over the world too. So they're in Africa. A lot of people don't know. 26 countries in Africa speak French. French are strong in Africa, right? And so they're deployed in like 5-6 countries in Africa now. Tahiti, New Caledonia, South America. They got them all over, man. South America, and which I was doing jungle ops with them down there, and
we'll get there.
Yeah, and so that was they're all over, bro. And now they're in Ukraine.
Wow.
They're in Romania, and so I was in Estonia with them.
The bases, do they have other soldiers there too that aren't just legionnaires?
Some are French Army.
Okay,
so
you
mix
have
in, you'll mix in,
it.
you'll mix in with French Army.
But
the real bases are all in southern France. You got on the island of Corsica, where Napoleon's from, actually.
That's beautiful.
So island of Corsica, and
Nice?
that's and not Nice, but along at Montpellier. Okay. And in South France, where I was at, was actually in the Mountain Regiment, so it's a little bit more north.
Very cool. So
Marseille.
you're in this room with all these guys from all these different countries. You're starting at day one.
Yeah, and so
your bed.
And so here was kind of my thing. I saw a lot of young guys that didn't know what the fuck they were getting themselves into. There was that. Then there was some of the hard nose, right? Like I was in there with a Lithuanian who I actually still Belarusian who I actually still FaceTime with, who's fighting in Ukraine now.
Whoa.
And he was an officer in the Belarusian Special Force unit. But so why these guys are there are 3 guys, 3 types.
Yeah.
It's important to know who is joining. It's the romantic, who's long lost love and fucking that guy gets crushed fucking quick, and he gets wet out pretty fast. You have the machine of war, machine de guerre, the guys who are fucking in it to fucking get after it, and in their home countries they don't deploy, right? So you have, or their armies pay nothing, right? Like the special force guy I knew who was in Belarus, he was an officer in their top elite unit. He made $900 a month.
Whoa.
Right. So he would just going in regular Legion was already tripling his pay.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible.
So he was like, fuck. And then the conversion rate, like for the Brazilians and shit, dude, they're making it rain back home. Right. For us, it's not the same. It's like I'm taking a huge pay cut. So they're doing it. There's the financial guy too, and the guy that does it for passport, right? So that guy's pretty much the same guy.
What about the people who are like running away from trouble in their homeland, kind of like you?
Yeah, I would say that's kind of I guess there's kind of a fourth kind of category, and that's kind of like just resetting, which I kind of say that's kind of the machine of war guy, kind of seeking into but I see that's just trying to hit that hard reset, but I had military experience, and so that I figured that was the best place to go kind of take a big boy time out, as I like to say. And dude, I wanted to get my tattoos fucking finished, and I didn't want to be fucked with, and I couldn't get a regular job, dude, doing it. So I needed time, bro.
Oh, you didn't have all these tats then?
I didn't. No, I had most of my body, a lot of my body, but I needed to finish everything. I'm tatted head to toe, bro. Like gooch,
it's up your head,
ass, everything, bro, up to the balls, bro, all the way.
You're tatted on your ass.
Oh yeah, ass. Into the ass cheek, pretty much, bro. Like everywhere. So I the way you do anything is the way you do everything. I do shit thorough. So it took a lot of time, but I had a vision for my body. I knew I was broken down psychologically, and it was kind of a symptom of how my life was. I knew I wanted this, to build myself back up. Mentally also, like I needed time to think, man. I needed time to study, figure out what the fuck I was doing wrong. It just kept breaking my life to pieces. I was like, what I'm doing is not working. I need to fucking unlearn some shit and learn some new shit.
Yeah.
I had to like separate, man, and fucking get a tactical pause and be like, okay, what? And while doing it, I wanted to do something fucking respectable, right?
Yeah.
And interesting. And so I was like, maybe they'll give me a gun and I can deploy and start kind of while I'm doing this. And that's exactly what I got, man. I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be stripped down. And so the process is they do the medical screenings. They're really hard on the teeth. They're really hard on.
What do you mean?
They're like, if you got really fucked up teeth, the French don't want it because they don't want guys coming in, getting their teeth fixed, and then fucking leaving. Oh. That was a problem. So they don't want that. They don't want flat feet. If you have weird shaped head or fucking you're underweight or overweight, you're fucking out. So they do hardcore on BMIs. The physical stuff is obviously. Then the psychological evaluations are interesting. The fucking interviews are crazy, bro. They call it the Gestapo interviews. They call them the Gestapo interview. So there's the unit in the front during this process. After you pass pre-selection, they give you a fake name. So I got a fake name. Mine was Trent Clayson from New York City. That you have a fucking new name, new identity.
Why do they do that?
Fucking mandatory, bro. They just take your name, bro.
Trent Clayson.
They take your passport. You get a new name, a new fucking European social security number. fucking everything, fake identity with a military ID. You can keep that name. Dudes can keep that name and get a French passport on that name if they want.
What?
It's a whole thing, bro.
That is sketchy.
If you wanted to reset your whole life, you can't. You're gonna earn it though. You're gonna need at least 7 years to do that to get nationalized French, or get shot. One of the two. Or get shot. But you can keep that name, man, and then you are a new person.
But you didn't keep Trent Clayson.
I know you got to route additional paperwork to get your passport back after a couple years, and then get your real name back, and they give it all back.
So in the Legion,
but the first 2 years, I was Trent Clayson.
You were called Trent. By
Nobody
people.
knew my first name. Nobody knows your real name.
They called you Trent.
They call me Trent.
That's nuts.
Clayson, yeah, I have fucking your name tabs, all your IDs, everything.
Did you get that tattooed on your body?
I have a French passport picture with Trent Clayson from New York City. Guess what? Because here's just by chance, I took this as a sign. They take your birthday, and then your new birth date is your birthday plus a month and a day.
Oh.
Mine happened to be New York City, September 11th.
Oh my!
Because I was born on August 10th, and so I looked at it and I was like, "These fuckers fucking with me." But then I realized it was just part of this computer system. I took it as a sign, man. But it was that. Then I got pre-selected, so now I'm pre-selected.
What do you mean?
So you go through pre-selection, then they send you down to the headquarter regiment down in Marseille, just out in Oban, where they go in depth, harder on your IQ, on your physical, and then on the background. But now, and that's called selection.
Gestapo?
And that's Gestapo.
Okay.
And so that's a whole new process. And then after that, you're going to get a contract and then get to attempt boot camp selection.
Right.
So that during the process of when they're going through selection and when they're like, who are you? Why the fuck is a Navy SEAL here?
Yeah, they probably. How often did they get a Navy SEAL? Never?
They've maybe gotten one. Nobody's ever made it or done it. So
you're the only one.
Yeah. So wow. I'm the only one ever. So they go, they don't want guys who are wanted for war crimes. They don't want problems with the United States government. There's like that whole piece. So they're trying to maneuver that.
And you got a hell of a color.
Yeah. And then I have like they were less worried about the criminal shit. That was like, whatever. They're like, oh, you hit a guy in a bar, who fucking cares? Right? They're like, fuck it. But they pulled it all up and they were asking me about it. But I said, look, man, they said, why are you here? I said, I ruined my fucking life. I need a second chance. And they said, all right. That's checks out. So I fucking told them what the deal was. I got kicked out and I fucking fucked up and I need help.
Take me to this room. What is this Gestapo?
So this is a special unit these are all high-ranking, high-caliber individuals. They all speak like 5 languages. They're all highly intelligent.
All members of the Legion.
All foreign legionnaires from every country, and you can imagine. And guys who had ranked up quick, right? They're relatively young for how high their rank is. So they're sharp. And it's in a secured building. They have the records from every Legionnaire from Legionnaire 1. It's crazy, bro, downstairs. It's the fucking files from the 1800s.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, wild. And one of the first Legionnaires was actually from the United States. From Colorado. Some fucking dude took a boat over there. Yeah, bro. Wow. Yeah, so kind of some cool shit that an old corporal, an old like senior enlisted guy showed me when I was there, cleaning, sweeping, doing whatever. So it's a secure building with bars, and they bring it. For me, it's usually the interviews are like 4 hours. For mine, it was fucking 4 days, 8 hours. Dude, they fucking grilled me.
How long? Like 12 hours?
Screaming at me, bro. 8. So screaming at me, 6 to 8. What the fuck are you doing here, man? You're full of shit. They did it on Thursday, Friday. Then I waited the weekend. Then they came back to me, and then the last day they're like, all right, look, we're gonna offer you a contract, but this is gonna be hard for you because you're gonna be getting told by some fucking corporal who has never done shit. He's going to be telling you how to fucking shoot.
Yeah.
You're going to have to bite your tongue here hard, and they're going to treat you like fucking shit. Yeah. Because you're going to get a lot of extra love.
You're at the bottom.
Yeah. And you're going to get extra love just to fucking who you are, and if they find out, right? Because I wasn't telling people.
What kinds of 4 days and 8 hours? So basically 5 days of
your family. Why'd you get arrested? What's this we found that you didn't tell us about? What's all that shit?
But there's so much filler time in there where they got to be asking you like.
Well, they would leave the room and fucking let me sit in there for a fucking hour and a half and come back and pull up pictures, and they have the whole teams working up. So they pull up pictures. I have no fucking idea where they got them from.
So they're finding all kinds
they were digging hard.
Intel thing.
Yeah, they have a whole intel department going up, looking up stuff, and so that was the whole thing. They're like, you said you've never done drugs. This is hilarious. Actually.
Oh, you told them that?
Of course I did. You got to tell, because if you sell you drugs, it's a problem. But I have no drug convictions. I have drug charges, but they went, which is what I told the United States military too. I told them I hadn't done any drugs ever.
Charged.
And they're like, you have 4 drug charges. I go, wrong place, wrong time. 4 times.
You're like brushing the Adderall
You know, they can't prove anything. So I said the same thing to them. They go, well, what's this? Dead serious, bro. There's a picture. I don't know what, it wasn't posted. I didn't have social media or nothing. They pulled a picture up of me in a room with like bags of weed from the marijuana days.
Never seen that picture in my life.
They go, who's this? And they go, is that you? I go, never seen that guy. No. They're like,
I did not have sex with that woman.
just stone face. They're like, okay, whatever, dude. They're like, I'm like, never touched the stuff, never smoked it.
Oh my God.
So it was just fucking those times. So there was those moments, but they were like, look, man, you're gonna have to eat some humble pie here. And I had to they shoved that whole humble pie down my throat because I'm going to selection. It felt so good though, bro, because it's actually pretty epic how you sign the contract and shit. They bring you down to the museum. You're in your fucking, you're marching. It's early in fucking the morning. The lights are silhouetting onto your shadows up on the wall. And then you're in there with every Legionnaire that's ever died in this fucking museum on a plaque, dude. It's like 30,000 fucking guys or maybe more. And you're just like, whoa, bro. There's just the officers, right? So I'm going. And then you sign your contract, bro, and you're off to boot camp. And that was boot camp. Nothing crazy, but it's a little bit more rustic. They send you to a place called out on the Spanish Pyrenees or the French Pyrenees on the Spanish border.
What's it called?
It's it's technically 4e Ray, which is their 4th regiment.
Let's try it.
Yeah, so you can say the farm. It's called the farm.
The Farm French Legion.
Yeah, the Farm French Legion. They'll show you, and it's fucking. We froze our nuts off, bro. I've fucking been cold before,
But did you think this was going to be easy?
No, I didn't think it was
going to
be easy. No, I didn't. I didn't know what I was walking into. It was a different kind of pain though, because it wasn't like you couldn't escape it. There wasn't like going back to your room later. There wasn't like you knew it was going to be over. I knew this was going to last forever, for like years, man.
Interesting. We're just pulling up the images here. So
they got to leave one of my YouTubes up there.
Which one should we click?
Any of those, bro.
That top one, is that like outside?
Yeah, it's like that. Like that's what it kind of looks like. You're out at the farm. It's tough to see there because it's literally just a farm out in the fucking. That's them graduating with their white keppies.
Where's the farmhouse you stay in? Is it up on the hill?
Well, there's 4 of them. That's probably one down there. It's just like a regular farmhouse, bro. But you're sleeping on cots, and we were there in the winter, so I was like dealing with that emotional, psychological piece of like, fucking, where am I? Well, I'm like, I lost my life, man. I'm here doing shoot and move drills with dudes who've never been in the military before in French. I'm fucking learning a FAMAS, FAMAS is fine, but I had a weapon in my hand again. I felt fucking good. I'm like, I don't care what I'm doing as long as I'm doing this piece.
How many guys are there with you?
50.
50 guys.
50. And so we had guys from Kent. Dude, some of the stories, bro, get this story. I'll give you an example of fucking just amazing individuals making their way to the Legion, dude. This kid from Kenya, and I don't know if people know, but trying to get a passport or a visa coming out of an African country is fucking almost impossible.
That doesn't surprise me.
So he's trying to get in the Foreign Legion. How do you get into the Foreign Legion? Well, you need a visa. We don't need it. We just fly in and fucking go, right? You just need a passport. They need a visa. They need to get their passport or whatever. So he goes, well, they're not going to give him a visa. The only way to get a visa is if he became super high ranking marathon runner. So he trained for 2 years to get into a race. He trained for 2 years to get in the race. He became one of the better runners in Kenya, or at least good enough to where he could get a visa and go train. He goes, finds the race that's in Europe and in France, gets to that race, gets there, lands, doesn't go to the race, and just goes to the Foreign
Goes to the Legion.
Just to give you an example. I heard a guy walked from Romania, walked from fucking Romania to France. No passport.
Like
no passport. He didn't have a passport. So they fucking shows up at the Foreign Legion gates, no passport, and they're like, what the fuck you doing here without a passport? He goes, hey, I walked from fucking Romania.
What did he do? Like walk through the Alps or some shit?
Dude, he just walked and probably hitchhiked and fucking did whatever he had to do.
Oh my God.
And so they go, And the guy's smart enough to make it through. Fucking, they let him in.
Made it through a border.
They made
it
him
through
in.
the Legionnaires.
So you have you have a handful of Mongolians. I'll give you the kind of the rundown.
Oh, you had Mongolians.
Handful of Mongolians they're solid dudes. Handful of Mongolians, a couple Thai guys, a lot of Nepalese, a lot of Brazilians, a lot of fucking handful of guys from Africa. You have like 1 or 2 French guys, and they have to kind of give away, and their new identity is Canadian. Just to give you an example of like because you can't be French really and join and keep your French citizenship.
So they fake it.
So they don't fake it. The Legion fakes it for them.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's the piece that is that, and a lot of Ukrainians, a lot of Romanians. That's the flow. Some Moldovians, some fucking. So it really opened up my scope.
Why is that, you think?
Economic opportunity. Economic opportunity, and they want the passport, right? So when Ukraine kicked off, we had like 10% of the Legion fucking left. You know, it was like a whole thing. Yeah. So it was a whole thing. A lot of the boys are still there. So it was boot camp, running a fuck ton. I mean, the Legion runs, they're renowned for running, and I was getting my fucking dick smashed in, bro, because they're yelling at me, oh, fucking Navy SEAL. They'd find out, and they'd be like, bro, I was so beat up and just getting yelled at for miles and miles and miles and miles in these fucking thing in the cold. And I'm like, fuck it, dude, whatever. I earned it. I'm like, I earned it, bro. I just knew I was in the right place. I was getting all the extra love, all the toilets that need cleaning I had to clean, all the shit, dude. They're like, hey, tell the Navy SEAL come clean this fucking toilet, bro. And that's what I did, bro, for years.
They probably like silently respected the fuck out of it, though, that you just did this shit. You volunteered to do this whole thing. You're in there literally cleaning the toilets and saying, all right, whatever. Like that there has to be like, you know, they're giving you shit because of who you are, but at the same time, they're like, damn, this motherfucker's a Navy SEAL. He's here doing this. Like, respect.
Yeah, and they knew, okay, they're running, but then once I pulled out a gun, bro, and was shooting down, they were like, God damn, bro. Like, you can't fake thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of rounds being thrown down, right? So, like, they knew when I could shoot, dude, and I could run and communicate, like, I can get down on the tactical movements. It was, I said this, it was a baptism in humility, bro. It was the fucking baptism in humility. It took me years to kind of build back up my fucking just flow to really just shed some of that old identity, shed some of that old ego, get clear. But I was get through selection, make it through all the bullshit, learn French, all this stuff. I picked the mountain regiment because I was kind of directed to, there's 2 commando units. There's a group commando parachutiste, parachute commando group, and group commando mountain commando group.
How long was the boot camp, by the way?
4 months.
4 months.
So 4 months, and I was directed to GCM. I was like, okay, GCM, fucking, let's try this. Try out for the commando unit. You got to be invited. So it was going to take a couple of years.
Do you have any contact with the outside world during this?
So
like family,
you're
anything?
cut. They take your cell phone. They take your fucking SIM cards, all your shit. So you have to fully reset when you get there. They'll give you your phone back when you finish, and your bags back and stuff, but you have to get a new SIM card and stuff. So after the 4 months, you get your phone back and you can start kind of coming back too. It was, the mountain regiment was fucking isolated. It's the most isolated regiment, but it was also the most deployed. So that's why I picked it, and that's why I was directed there. The ambiance is a little better. The atmosphere, command climate's a little more chill. So that's why that Legion leadership, when I was actually in the headquarter regiment, they said, hey, this is where you probably should pick. So that's where I went, man. And I'm thinking, mountain regiment, dude, okay, well, mountains, okay. I had thought maybe I wanted to go to the jungle and pick the jungle shit, but I was like, it wasn't even possible. It was closed. I was like, fuck, I'm probably not going to get to go to the jungle. Sure enough, we get there, fucking 11 months. I'm just checked in. I'm a new guy, and they go, hey, your combat company is going to fucking jungle deployment.
To South America.
To South America.
Where in South America?
French Guiana Francais. A lot of people don't know. France is territory in South America.
They do?
Yep, bro.
Guiana Francais?
Guiana Francais. It's right next to Suriname. Suriname is the Dutch. Suriname is owned by like Holland.
So, yeah, Suriname front. Let's help Murph here.
So look up French. Guiana. Guiana.
South America. All right, hit maps.
I probably even spelled that wrong, but you'll see it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's.
So
hit that
it's just next to Brazil and Suriname. See, there it is.
All right, let's zoom out on that. How big is that?
It's like one of the smaller ones, but it's not teeny.
Yeah, that looks like a nice chunk of land.
Dude, that's all the oil going off there now. How much gold down there? It's like the fucking Wild West, bro. And I figured out.
Oh, no. So wait, this is the still top tip of the Amazon.
They speak French. They speak they use the euro.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. I didn't know that either before going down there.
So this is the Amazon jungle, though.
Bro, we were fucking out there, bro. It is Amazon jungle, bro.
I was just down there with my buddy Paul Roseley.
That's why I was amazed to hear that when you were down there. It is people who don't know it, but the Amazon jungle's no joke.
It's no joke.
It is real deal, Holyfield. And
now, what was the mission to go there?
Interdiction of illegal gold mining and drugs, presence patrols, and also some protection of the legal gold mining activities down there. So
there's a French government there?
French government is there. It's France, bro. Wow. It's fucking France. It's the furthest part away from Europe. It's Europe, bro. Like technically.
In 2024, these things, it blows my mind.
People don't even know.
Exists.
And so there's a lot of American money going down there now because they just discovered oil off the coast. So it's billions of dollars flooding down.
Oil there.
Yeah, billions are starting to flood down there now. I'll get some of my Washington contacts are hitting me up about it. So they're like, hey, we got tons of this going on. I go,
we need some intel.
So yeah, they're building bridges, they're building a lot of infrastructure because it was interesting because we went down there and COVID was kicking off. COVID was kicking off. Funny, I never fucking saw a mask down there not one time, and everybody was fine. It's a trip, dude. So we would, even though COVID, what the fuck? It's the last thing you're worried about, bro.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we flew into the capital, Cayenne, and flew into the capital. Then took a little with our combat company, like 80 Legionnaires. And why we got sent down there, because technically our guys are demolition specialists. Technically it's like it's an engineering thing, but we're mountain specialty, but do know how to do demolition. So we're going to blow the fuck out of all these gold mines, man. And so we went down there and linked up with the Marine unit down there. Is a Troisième Rima, 3rd Rima. It's like the 3rd Marine Regiment down there. And we took a bus to a smaller base, and then took that from that smaller base, took an 8-hour fucking little boat ride into the jungle doing on an outpost. And
I know what that's like.
So yeah, so you know how it is, pushing the things and all the, you're going over the rocks and all the bullshit. And that was where we stayed, man, for months so we would chill there, and kind of watch the traffic of the boats, 24-hour security all the time, handful of dudes, one section. So we had 12 or 13 guys, 13 Legionnaires, and then we do mini ops, 2 days, some 14-day jungle patrols, sleeping in the jungle, sleeping in hammocks.
Now we're like with tents,
humping water. No, just hammocks.
Just hammocks.
Humping hammocks.
That's savage.
Yeah, humping hammocks.
No
Dude,
mosquito
I got
nets?
some crazy pictures. We would do that. You'd have to. You put some. The hammock is enclosed with the mosquito netting attached to it.
Okay, all right. So you have that.
But I mean, we're just drinking out of river water with chlorine tablets. Because you can't carry enough water.
Yeah.
So we're just 14-day job. I was packing cans of tuna, bro, so I didn't lose those gains, bro. I was carrying so much extra. They're like, this American motherfucker. They're like, dude, did you hump protein powder in here? I did, dude. Fucking straight up. I don't give a fuck, bro. I was humping protein powder, and they would give me the extra left. So I was humping a chainsaw. I'm humping a fama. I'm humping a,
You're humping a chainsaw.
Yeah, dude. So because we had to bring chainsaws. All this other shit.
You machetes, baptism of fire, the Amazon. Come on
everyone's got a machete. But dude, when we were taking over these gold mines, we're cutting down logs. Also, there's shit that's blocking shit. We had to bring demolition, had to bring sledgehammers, all that shit. So we're humping that shit too.
And people also don't think about this, but like, people think about like forests in America and shit where there's nice little trails to walk on and stuff. Malaka, you are cutting through the jungle,
hacking
in a lot of this shit just to like get 2 feet in front of you, and it is bush, man. It is thick. It is life if you've ever seen it. And then some people carve some trails, but like where you're going, these are ops, man. Like you're trying to take down some dangerous motherfuckers. You're going through dangerous parts of the jungle just to get to them.
Where people don't want you. The French call it l'enfer vert.
L'enfer vert?
Green hell.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the French call it, because, at night, They had all the, and so, dude, we were hacking, and we would do 14-day ops and hit a fucking gold mine spot every day. That's how many that's how many we'd have.
Murph, can you type in Amazon gold mine drone shot? I want people to see this.
Understand the capacity.
Because not just even the capacity, but like the destruction.
Just rips it apart. And they're using, bro, Mercury Lakes. They were having me dive in and hey, Navy SEAL, come get the engines out of the Mercury Lake. Dead serious. I was swimming at the bottom of these lakes, bro, dragging up pipes.
Yeah.
Fucking, I glow in the dark now, dude.
Hit that one right there. The fourth one right there. Yeah, I want people to see this real quick. So, oh, that's a video? All right, well, you can kind of see it. It's got the stamp on it, but look at, this is all supposed to be canopy. This is supposed to be 125, 150-foot canopy, and it's just dredged out. And Paul Rosley, I've had him in here 3 times, well, twice, but the second time was 2 episodes because it was like 6 hours. But episode 124, the first time he was in here, he laid out all the mercury stuff.
It's crazy,
and what it does to the environment around it. It is, I think that was like 27 minutes in or something like that. It was fucking crazy, so people go listen to that. But you were down hunting these guys, and you're going in there to basically like set the bomb so they can't get back in the mine itself.
Well, we'd surprise them, run up on them, and they're fucking scattering. A lot of them have their wives and kids and shit too mixed in. We'd come across whorehouses, karaoke fucking bars and shit they're building into these fucking places. Bro, I'm like, what the fuck is going on out here? Grandmas. And we would come in, they'd run off. All right, but dude, you can't arrest these people. What the fuck? Where are you going to take them? You're going to march with them for 14 days, right?
Are you in uniform?
Yeah. So I'm in jungle uniform, right?
Okay, I was going to say you're not in like the big hat.
No, I'm in jungle. We're in soaking wet too, dude. Like jungle uniform, and they run off. Then we just fucking burn everything, bro. Just like old school fucking scorched earth. We'd come in and just burn all their fucking houses down and shit. Eat all their food, burn all their fucking shit down.
Oh, you like the first part?
No, dude, we just crust their. I'm like, oh, who's got Doritos, bro? They'd hump, but dude, ingenious what they would do. We'd burn everything down and then just fucking put it in a pile, burn it, blow up things we do. Take the sledgehammers, break all their fucking diesel engines up. Hey, Navy SEAL, go in the Mercury Lake and pull out the diesel engines. I'd fucking dive into that shit, dude. Dead serious, pulling it out, fucking tubes, all the shit, break all that shit, and then move on to the next one.
Whoa! How long were you doing this?
3 months. So we did that part for 3 months. We were down there for 4.
I mean, ballpark, how much mileage do you think you guys covered?
So in that 14 days, we did 100 kilometers.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so about 50 in, 50 out-ish, 110.
Now, this whole industry, like a lot of this is funded from China and foreign countries, and then they're wrecking this shit, and then the USA is buying the stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, and now, and it's a circle of life, but also this is a French territory.
Yeah.
Right? Like they actually have diplomatic ties, unlike, unfortunately, some of these other countries that are like left with their dick in their hands.
Yeah.
But like, this is still happening on their soil.
Yeah. And dude, we went to some legal operations, and how they get the machines in there is incredible. So just to give people an idea of some numbers here, I asked them what the fuck what they're doing money wise. Like, I'm curious. Well, I want to get down to the brass tacks here. What's the black and red? So this little like 10 guy operation they're running with, they had some larger equipment and stuff like that. And mind you, these guys, they would get the gold and stuff. And then one guy on a fucking motorcycle with a guy in the back with a shotgun with a backpack with the gold, dude, fucking riding out because they're getting shot at and shit, dude. Let's go. They're like, who's pulling the short straw this week to take the gold back? So that was going up. So I was like, hey, what's going on numbers wise? After they got it up and running, that 10 guy operation, just in that week, every week they do like 700,000 euro. Right.
Oh, that'll do.
A week of 10 guy operation, right?
That's
legal.
pretty good.
Now that's legal. So not bad. Not bad. I don't know what their costs are or whatever, but that's what they're doing, like gross as far as gold is concerned, money wise. I don't know how true is that or what the fucking what it was. That's the number he told me. So
you get any souvenirs?
All right. So man, dude, but we went and blew up one on the islands. There's like a patch of islands. I didn't even know this was internal, but inside there's like this big watered area and there's thousands of little teeny islands. And there's illegal gold mining happening on a lot of these. We went down there and I'm like, this is my first stop down there. We blew the fuck out of this, thousands of kilos of demolition. It was like this whole mountain. And to give you a thing, I had in the sand, just on the sand, dude. I would dig in, just gold in your fucking hand, dude. Just everywhere.
You put some in your pocket?
Well, it was, not enough to like think, but dude, it was like, oh, this shit's just like laying on the ground.
Yeah.
Right, it was so I go, oh, now I know why France is fucking sending us down here. It was a good experience, very powerful, but even the Foreign Legion down there, bro, you're still in the Foreign Legion. Strict as shit. They would have us marching in the fucking jungle if we fucked up. You're still singing and doing all the bullshit.
Oh, you're singing?
Oh, the super. They're very strict. The Foreign Legion's like the Marines times whatever, as far as like, and I understand they got to put guys down under the thumb. You got all these guys, checkered backgrounds coming in, and they got to fucking. If you walk across the grass wrong in the Foreign Legion, they're gonna put you in jail. The Foreign Legion has their own little jail on every regiment.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you speaking French pretty good at this point?
Everything's in French. So all
Like
military orders, it's everything. If they hear you speaking English, it's a fucking problem, right?
So you're
also
pretty fluent now.
At
this point.
Well,
no,
my accent's
at that point.
Yeah, my accent's dog shit. But yeah, I could always flow. My French is still not great, still not good, but I can understand it and I can speak it and I can get by. I do whatever I got to do. So yeah, that we did that and came back, and then we're back kind of in the flow training.
Where were you when you came back?
I was back in Paris, back in South France, and then immediately we got kind of tuned up. Then the next mission was, they call them missions down there, was a 2-month internal anti-terrorism domestic mission in France. And I didn't know that they used the Legion and some French units to patrol internal of France for anti-terrorism purposes, presence patrols.
Now, how does that work?
So I was on Nice, bro, on the beach in the Riviera with the fucking
spot.
HK.
Good spot.
And not bad, bro, not bad. Chicks were like, hey, what's going on? It was because they had some people die there, in 2016 with the terrorism attack.
Yep.
And the French love it. They're like, hey, you're just walking on the beach. Hey, imagine that here. It'd be weird. They're just walking, patrolling, like, hey, merci.
You got your uniform on?
Oh, yeah. Full beret, everything, very formal. And that's called Vigiparat. Vigiparat missions, what's it called in French?
They probably feel pretty safe when they see you walk
Yeah,
by
they're like, hey, what's up? Oh, yeah, they're like, hey, what's going on?
Oh, I feel bad for any terrorists.
Yeah, they're like, we got some tough looking guys too, right? You got some tough guys in the Legion, and pro fighters and MMA fighters and guys, pro boxers from their country, Olympians in some capacity, and so you have some tough guys and you build some interesting bonds. It opens your eyes to that. In America, we're kind of closed off. Geographically, we're isolated. You can learn. I've always been interested in the world, but I didn't have the experience with being around people from different cultures like that. So it opened my eyes to also what people go through, like real poverty, like dudes who are growing up real poor, bro, like true poverty, not like I'm poor, but I have a fucking iPhone. Like for 3 months I ate mice type poor, right? I mean, it's a different type of fucking hardcore, bro, because they got the alcoholic mom and dad and, all this shit, dude. I was raised by dogs, I'm half joking, but dude, it was cool because you're all the fucking same. Didn't matter. I was a Navy SEAL. Nobody gave a fuck, to be quite honest, right? It was like, that wasn't anything. You're all on the same level, same rank, same fucking shark shit. You're cleaning the same toilets. That was what was probably the best part for me, because I could just kind of shed everything and focus on the self-development. And that's kind of when I started that. I built the confidence back up, and I started really my morning process in that piece of like really paying attention to the diet again in the jungle, actually. Started like intermittent fasting in the jungle and tracking my macros and shit there. And that's when I really started to really hone this back in and realized that when I came back from that and I was in that Foreign Legion barracks room, I was like, dude, I'm still not happy. That was the piece. And I was like, fuck. And there's nowhere else to go. There's no other unit where I can fix my identity, or there's nothing. I looked, now I'm looking at Ukraine. Maybe I'll go there. And then I realized, dude, I'm just running from myself.
You took the words out of my mouth. It feels like you're constantly.
Yeah, like running. Like, what am I running to, dude? Where does it end? And then I realized, dude, I want to have a life, bro. I want to fucking have a wife and a fucking life and make money and do my thing. And it's like, dude, it's like, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing out here doing this? So that's when I realized I had to start looking internally. So I started to read Stoic philosophy, started diving into Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Nero, even some crazy guys. I get it, but people got some ancient wisdom. Musashi, right? any philosopher that had anything to say, I was curious why these guys, and all these same principles, right? Get up, have your discipline, maintain emotional discipline, maintain your morality, all these fucking things. I'm like, dude, I either believe this shit, this universal laws, or I don't. Like, you can't, oh yeah, I believe it, and then like, and do weird shit over here. Doesn't work, right? You have to fucking be locked on, closed doors, open doors all the time. And I was like, I just got to fucking commit to that. So then I did. They said, wake up at 5. I was getting up at 3, working out in the bathroom. I was fucking getting my mind right. Not like crazy, but just started disciplining and tightening all these pieces down. As I was doing this, we got prepped for the next deployment, which was to Estonia on the Russian border.
Oh,
with
shit.
NATO.
What year
So
is
with
this?
NATO, this was 2022.
Holy shit.
So 2022, and I have a fucking crazy picture of we're rolling out 86 T-82 tanks, bro. 86 in a row.
Is this before February or after?
After. So
the war's kicked off.
Yeah, this is like we're flexing on the border, right? And so this is what it is, right? We're blowing some shit up along the border training, but I'm with the English, the Estonians, we were with the Dutch there. With 4 guys. So the French contingent with NATO, really. We're kind of giving you the enhanced forward presence battle group.
And you had said we had tabled this, but I forget, what was it, like 10% or something is Ukrainian in the Legion?
Yeah.
So you had said a bunch of these guys left to fight in Ukraine.
Yeah.
How did that
A lot
work?
deserted, a lot just fucking left and they're just to go fight. And the French were like, hey, you can go get your families. And so the French were cool. They let some guys get their families.
And bring them back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So some just left and they fucking have been there since, right?
And they're still fighting.
Yeah.
Do you talk with any of them who are fighting?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Hardcore, dude. Some of their brothers died and fucking, it's hardcore. It's a real deal,
Oh, yeah.
Shelling and it's just a fucked up war because you're just waiting for mortars, from artillery to come in.
Yeah, I had Mark Turner in here who's been going back and forth to Ukraine since it kicked off, and he ended up training battalions for their army and everything. But he's like, it's Scottish guy, U.S. Marine, Scottish guy's like, it's fucking insane out there, man. They're fighting over two blocks, 14 days. Motherfuckers are dying. It's a war that doesn't move.
Yeah.
And basically, like, he's saying that the trench urban warfare that it is makes it this constant stalemate.
Yeah.
But people are dying in the hundreds of thousands because they'll fight over 10 meters for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah. So I had a couple American buddies, former Marines that are over there that were in the Legion, deserted to go fight. And it's, just is what it is. And so that was a cool experience to actually be there. It was nice to be able to speak English because now everybody's like, hey, man.
Oh, shit.
You mind fucking translating for us? And now please speak. So I'll be out in the forest.
Don't mind if I do.
I'd be out in the forest and some English guy would come across. He'd see the French flag. He's like, I go, hey, dude, it's all good. He's like, what the fuck are you doing out here, bro? I still get hit up by those guys because, my Instagram and YouTube kind of popped. And they're like, bro, you were that American dude in fucking Estonia with us, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fucking cool, man.
But you're on the border while this war's breaking out.
Yeah.
Basically, like you said, flexing.
Yeah, so, the Danish. That's who we were out there. That was the other group. The Danes, bro. Bro, I'm 6 feet tall. I never felt like such a fucking midget. Dude, those motherfuckers.
Oh, they're tall?
Bro, the Danes are just stacked, bro. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Sick too, dude. Cry precision. Their unit had one of the best environments I've ever seen, dude. Their cohesion was unbelievable. Very good leadership. Really pleasure to work with the fucking Danes, bro. So that's why it was cool. A lot of these experiences in the Estonia is beautiful. I didn't know anything about Estonia.
Heard the women there
beautiful
are
women, dude. Beautiful women, great hair, good genes, right? Beautiful country. Interesting. Some of the history there. I didn't realize, dude. They love Germany, like all that whole Germany, I didn't realize because Germany during World War II freed them from the Red Army.
Oh, shit.
I go, it's like that whole different angle. Because, it was the Red Army that was crushing them and Stalin and all that, dude. And then
so they like the Nazis.
Love them. They were all about it, bro. It's a crazy, history. Because I saw, some I'm like, what the hell's going on over here? And they're like, the history of this. And I go, so weird to see that international perspective of
That's
how
nuts.
things can be different from different angles. I'm like, oh shit, dude.
I mean, that was like being stuck between a shit and a fart. You were fucked either way.
They were crushed, man, because
the
it
red
was weird.
Or
We'd go running through the forest and we'd see gulags out there, bro. And it was old prisons and running through. Beautiful country, though.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you there?
4 months. So the Foreign Legion, their deployments are usually 4 months-ish. It's kind of how France does it.
Okay. Did you see? You didn't have to take any action.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't anything super hot like that. It was just more tense. You know, the political side out there. But it was weird being, you know, you're on the furthest north Russian border, and so a lot of those guys are Russian descendants. You know, because in those towns, Nassar is like, I think Nassau. I forget exactly what the town's name is. It's you know, there are a lot of Russian heritage.
Absolutely. At this point, like, you've been in this now for 2.5 years, something like that. Like,
yeah, 3 years at that point. 3.5.
Do you ever feel like, you know, because you're fighting for the French army, effectively. Yeah. Is there any sort of like allegiance there that sprouts up? Like, oh, this is my second country.
So I'll get people blasting, you know, traitor. You know how they fucking. God. I'm like, dude, it's an allied nation. Yeah. It's like, dude, fucking chill out, right? Take a couple plays off, dude. It's, you know, it's an allied nation. They're red, white, and blue for a reason, right? Their flag, you know, just like England. Like,
I never thought about that.
So is England, right?
Wow.
Right. There's a reason for that, right? The allied forces, the trifecta, like that. So I never had any issues, right? My allegiance has always been in the United States, right? If there was ever fucking a question, I know exactly who I'd fucking, that's just what it is. So I was really grateful for France, man. You know, I was helpful to be there. It was nice to experience. But the Legion's interesting. You don't swear allegiance to the French military. It's the only unit like this. You only swear allegiance to the Legion.
Really?
So the Legion had a really interesting thing in 1962 where the Legion was almost disbanded because they broke down out of Algeria, which is kind of like how the Afghanistan breakdown happened.
Oh, yeah,
and a fucking Legionnaire sniper from the parachute regiment tried to kill the French president. And it was actually like formalized, like it was getting pushed by Legion.
Gaulle?
It might have been.
Yeah, that Algeria
might have
thing,
been the
that history, people got to look into that. That shit's nuts.
Algeria and France and that whole thing, there's some crazy books on it too of guys there in the Legion, and that was hardcore shit. So they took the parachute regiment and banished them to Corsica. They said, we're not going to break it down. They put them on an island. They said, you're not going to be on mainland France anymore. And so it's still like that today. But so the Legion's always had this weird redheaded, you know, that whole stepchild thing but it's getting more and more integrated into the French military. So it's getting a little less pirate, a little less danger. Like they're just because they've had a lot of legal problems and people dying and all that stuff. So now we're coming back out of it, and that now I'm just kind of ranking up, going through the process of I'm about to screen for the Commando group, which I fucking failed, by the way.
Well, you failed?
I failed the run test, which it was just too fast. I couldn't fucking pace past the fucking time, dude. It was way too fast. At altitude, uphill.
Navy SEAL can't run.
Yeah. Well, they all knew. They were like, fuck, dude. I was 37 at the time, right? So I'm 37. I'm pushing the fucking bounds of the human body at this point. 37, and I got, dude, that test is just too fucking fast, dude. It's like 5 miles at altitude in like full military fucking
How long
get
do you
up.
have?
They want it done in like 37 minutes or something like that. 5 miles. I'm moving, right? It's just that would have been pushing it for me even back in the day, right?
Yeah. How much weight is your get up?
Man, it's just normal like boots and pants but you know, full, no ruck yet, you know, but it's just fast at altitude with hills. It's just too fast and I couldn't pass the time. And they're like, fuck, dude. They invited me to come back, but it just wasn't going to happen. So that's when I go, I'm getting out, right?
Do you have? Were you in long enough to have French citizenship?
No, you can request it after your 5 years, but it's usually takes 7. They said 3 there, but it's really not. That's not the case.
Got it.
So now I'm in the point where I'm like, bro, my habits are now. I'm like a fucking machine. I'm fully self-actualized as far as like my habits, my mindset. I'm positive. I don't have bad days anymore, bro. I can't remember last time I had a bad fucking day. Dead serious.
That's awesome.
Dude, I just learned how to self-soothe and just build my self-worth on my own daily habits. And I felt great, man, about getting out, about people were kind of asking me what I was doing, this and that. And I'm going, man. And I had an injury. I said I had never been hurt. I tore my medial calf muscle
You tore your calf muscle?
In Legion selection.
Ooh.
Never stopped running, bro.
That sounds horrible, though.
I felt like, bro, something's bad. It's all deformed now. But I fucking was like, dude, man, my leg hurts, bro. And I just kept running, but I was like, I wouldn't stop. So 3 years later, it's still all deformed and shit. I'm like, I should probably get this looked at. Just to see if they can connect it back or something. I can run and jump. I don't have like any issues with it, but it hurt while it happened, and now it's deformed a little bit on just the medial muscles, totally gone. So that I took there was no deployment stacked or nothing. I took the time to request to go to the hospital. So I never really have been out of the game for an injury, but I got this looked at. So I'm in the hospital. They're like taking a look at it. They're like, "What the fuck's going on? Why? How are you? What happened?" Well, and so they still can't. They never figured out what happened or what the fuck or how to do what to do or what happened. But I'm in there for a while they're trying to figure this out. So I go, I'm gonna upload some pictures on Instagram. That's when I started. I got fucking some time. I'm like off the grid. I'm just working out in my fucking hospital room. So I started posting some pictures. Started kind of sharing some stories. Started kind of doing some things. Just was like, all right, I think I might want to go into this coaching thing, man. Like, I think I could teach people how to do this shit, right? How to like live right. I've fucking learned how to not do shit and how to do some shit right. And I learned how about daily habits. So I started building just a general daily format that I do every day still, right? Simple, right? Just exactly daily habits, what supplements to take, what time to get up, exactly all the same shit.
What are your daily habits?
So I get up every day at like 3:34. That's about where I stop. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed. That's the fucking time. Take some time to self-reflect, quick, drink some coffee, take some time to fucking raise the vibration up. I do some Mike Tyson push-ups or whatever. I'll do some visualization, right? It might be no music, might be some. 30 minutes, 34 or 5 minutes. Then I'll roll into my work, whatever, kind of getting ready for the day. But I don't look at my fucking phone immediately.
Smart.
I don't look at my emails. I don't get sucked into the matrix. That's like, wake up deliberately. Wake up with the fucking... not floating, right? Yep. Wake up with a plan, with the fucking system. Yep. I call it psychological and emotional grooming. People fucking brush their teeth and fucking hair and they don't brush their brain.
Yep.
Get clear, bro. Get centered. Where are you at? Where were you? What do you regret from the day before? Fucking don't do that again. And then where are you trying to go? Visualize that shit. Boom. Now move on. We don't need some fucking 2-hour biohacking bullshit. Right? Because guess what? I want it simple. I want it repeatable. All I need is a coffee and a floor, right? To get my shit. I could do it in an Airbnb, hotel room, but it's just something I touch the base on every day. Yeah. Then I'll go into work or whatever and try to work out if I can in the morning, if I have to later, right? But that's usually the general flow. And that's what I started to build there. And I started fucking feeling better, man. I started getting clear and my inner peace was coming back and I was feeling, fuck, dude. Well, because I'd always done it, and I thought back, man, when have I ever been most happy? Well, it's been when I'm been locked on, waking up early, doing shit.
Is this when you're still in the Legion?
So I'm still in the Legion. Okay. So I started doing this shit every day. I started really hardcore in Estonia. I was waking up, getting fucking yelled at. They were threatening to put me in jail because I was getting up early and going to work out because I would be like, kind of like getting up, and they'd be like, French officers were mad that I woke them up or some shit. It didn't fucking matter, dude. I was like, I got to do this shit. I was out in the fucking cold in Estonia, like doing push-ups outside and shit. I had to. And I'm so glad I did because I felt good again. And I felt like I didn't need some external validation to feel good about myself. And that was a win. So I was like, bro, this was a positive. This was a win. So I was like, dude, I'm going to fucking share some of this on fucking YouTube. So I started kind of going up, and then the Legion fucking wasn't happy with that, right? So they came down. When is
this?
This was November.
Oh, 2023?
Dude, I just got out of the Legion in December. I got back to the United States December 17th.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I just got back, bro. So I fucking, I put it out there and I just told my story. I just told my story, man, about drugs. I just sent it. Fentanyl, drugs, getting kicked out of the military, where I was at, what helped me, man, what the path was, right? Taking ownership, just, man, empowerment, man. You can be suicidal, man, and then fucking come out of it. Right? Don't throw in the towel, right? If not for you, then for everybody else in your life, right? What kind of damage are you leaving? Don't do that. So that was kind of my message. I was speaking positive about the Legion, never have said a bad fucking word. But they just were like, they were fine with it at first, but then it blew up. Then they were like, oh shit, this thing has 1 million views and fucking.
And they didn't like that.
No, they were like, oh shit, we don't know what he might say. They were fine when it was small.
Right.
But then they were like, well, what if he fucking goes off and says some negative shit?
Yeah.
But I was great recruiting for him, dude. I had Marines coming in. They were like talking to me. I was like, hey, man, if you're in a rough spot, it can be very powerful, right?
Wow.
Positive. So I was actually just reasonable. I'm like, yeah, man, you think it'd be good for you? I'll tell guys that if they ask me.
How'd you leave it?
And so, dude, they were like, I got a lawyer because I was like, dude, they're like, take it all down. We're going to put you in fucking jail on back to back, months and months and months until on food discipline until we fucking kick you out, force you out if you don't take it down. And I was like, I'm not fucking taking shit down. And they were like, all right. So I was like, well, I'm going to fucking get a fucking, because I'm all about, I understood the iron was hot. The fucking shit was going, there was no way I'm going to fucking lose the momentum on this.
Yeah.
And I was like prepping my out.
You've known a lot of lawyers too.
So I was like, this is just another
one.
thing. So I was luckily I wasn't there, or they could have wrapped me up there. But they were like playing hardball. I played hardball with them. When I played with the lawyer, and the lawyer goes, dude, you're in like legally really gray area here, which is also another point that people don't think. Man, people are like, oh, you didn't honor your oath. Or I go, bro, this coming from the same people that have divorces.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, didn't honor your oath. I'm like, bro, it's a fucking foreign military organization. I'm a foreigner. They're going to put me in jail. But look, man, my loyalty is the United States.
Yeah.
Fucking, I tried to stay. I fought to stay. I said, can I keep these up? I'll fucking do whatever. I was like, oh, clean trucks or whatever. They were like, no, because I was denying an order from the general. So that's fucking, I mean, imagine how that's. Le General,
yeah.
Pas content. So I said, oh, the lawyer's like, dude, you got to fucking just leave, man. He's like, you got to just leave because they're going to fucking
So you just walked off the base?
No, I wasn't on the base, thank God, because I was separated because I was still fucking hurt from the fucking calf thing. So they were like, that was my only thing, or I would have been fucked because I had my passport and my shit. Because they went in the next day, I said no, locked up all my shit in my room, fucking ripped everything apart, locked everything up so I couldn't even get my shit if I wanted.
Where were you staying during the calf thing?
So I had a girlfriend at the time. I was staying at her apartment.
In Paris?
In Marseille.
In Marseille.
Yeah, so that's where I was
nice
at.
French girlfriend.
Yeah, she's actually, Bulgarian, but she, yeah, so, that was what it
How many countries have you hit over the years? I'm just curious.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so so that was it, bro. I was fighting it, trying to fight it on the up and up, but, like I said, man, dude, even stories of redemption aren't a fucking fairy tales, bro. Like, this is life, bro. Things happen.
You have lived a life. Man.
Yeah, things happen, man, and it's like, dude, sometimes the winds of change are speaking to you, man. I had a higher calling, man. And it was, hey, man, I was getting hundreds of messages going, dude, I was going to kill myself. I saw your video. Fucking thank you.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm not taking this shit down, bro. Like, I'm not. I was getting, a lot, and I still do. I knew it was the right path, and I kept making them, right? And I haven't missed a day. Every Monday and Thursday, I upload a fucking new one. Stream of consciousness. I haven't missed a day since the day I started.
We'll put the link to your YouTube down
and because
description.
it's, hey, man, let's take inventory where we're at. Let's identify a new goalpost. Let's fucking start moving. Let's do it, right? You fucking deserve to feel better. If you're not stoked on life, I know you, dude, you're a man that fucking, bro, you take some risk, take some action, start moving, right? Now look what you're doing, right? And stoked to get up. I see it, your energy, bro. Just fucking saw it. When we first see so what's up, dude?
Yeah.
It can be like that for everybody, right? You don't have to be living in this drudgery.
That's right.
And it's always just a little bit of fucking action to get momentum, and then you can start seeing that veil starts dropping. You start getting that clarity. It's all it takes. That's why that fucking object in motion, stays in motion. You got to get moving, change some shit up, get some new energy into the system, get the mojo back, as I like to say, because I lost my mojo fucking hard, bro, for like 2 years when I was just like, fuck, dude, just trying to move and feeling like I'm walking through quicksand when I was like, okay, now then committing to just simple daily practices, then felt the clarity come, and then the momentum came after it.
And you've only been out of this thing for like 9 months, something like that. And obviously you're doing great. And it's like, you see a lot of people who will go to coach people and it's like, okay, what have you done? Look at your resume, what you've done in your life, where, you put yourself in bad situations a bunch too, but you always took control yourself. Yeah. You never had I can't think of a situation where you ever had someone hold your hand through something. You got through these things, and they almost got like progressively harder and harder and worse, to the point where like you're even like ripping fentanyl lines every night, and you get yourself clean and you go back and prove yourself from square zero in the military. So I got to think, when people are coming to you to be a life coach or something like that, they're looking at where you've been and what you've done, and they're like, okay, this guy's legit. Like he really did it himself.
Yeah.
So maybe I can too.
And they can. And my whole thing is, man, we got to be honest with each other. Right? We'll be honest about where we're at. If you're honest, if you're know where you're at, you can actually take a bearing and fucking go, right? If you're lost in the woods, you don't know where you're at. It's gonna be fucking hard to kind of find your way out. So I got to be authentic with people if they can be authentic with me. And you know, it's also understanding self so that you can manage people, business scenarios, man. Manage your family. Start setting the example first. Set the fucking example. Self-actualize, then you can transcend self. Then you can start helping other people, right? But you can't do shit for anybody. Your business is going to be fucking dog shit if you're dog shit.
Yep.
Your life, your family, your relationships. So I go, quiet all that, fix yourself. You can do it fast. People can fucking right the ship pretty fucking quick. I've seen some amazing transformations with guys, former military, some not, just make the decision, start changing their small habits, and bro, they're fucking like, boom, it's amazing. People shock me, and it fucking warms my heart when I see like people actually grab this shit by the balls and really do it. Proud of motherfuckers, because I know it's hard, you know, and it's hard to get honest with yourself when you go, man, all this shit's my fault.
Oh yeah.
That's once you get there, it's fucking easy.
Yeah, taking blame, just putting it on you. Are you proud of yourself and where you're at, considering everything you've gone through?
Dude, I love my life now, bro.
Yeah.
I'm so happy because I'm proud of being able to say no to myself. Being able to I realized how often before I was just like, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. I want to do this when I do it. And I'm talking the pleasure-driven shit.
Oh, yeah.
And now I derive a lot of pleasure from the purpose-driven shit. Like, I really derive pleasure from getting up early. I derive pleasure from eating correctly. I don't derive pleasure from eating cake. I'm not saying I don't ever fucking have, I'm not like that, but I'm saying I derive more pleasure from sticking to a basic plan. Bend, but don't break, right? Straight, not straightened. You're not perfect. You got to be able to adapt a little bit and adjust to fucking not be a rigid, weird fuck. And live your life a little bit, because that's not cool either. Is just being so stringent that you can't live. But you got to have this basic framework that you can kind of operating around, that you can contour off of. That's always like, okay, it's nice to get back onto the program. If you've been you're out in the jungle doing shit, it's kind of nice. I kind of want to get back flowing in the gym, right? There's that feeling, but it's getting people that baseline to where their new baseline is structured, and that actually makes them positive and feel good.
Well, dude, your story is incredible. I mean, and you're extremely entertaining.
Thank you,
bro.
How
you tell it as well. But I think there's so many lessons in there for people, and I do think even looking at all the different mistakes that happen along the way, coming back to self-discipline and finding a way to do that. Like, you have that grit you talked about inside of you that gets those Navy SEALs through buds and makes them the best warriors in the world, and you've been able to use that at extremely hard points where you shot yourself in the foot and found a way to heal the bullet wound. And that's an amazing thing. So
thank you.
Listen, we're going to put your link to your YouTube down in the description.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the link to your personal website down in the description as well. So if people want to work with you, they can contact you through your website or through Instagram DMs.
Both, man. Everything goes to me too. I don't outsource anything. There's no AI. Every email goes to my personal email. Every DM I answer. I don't fucking outsource fuck all.
Love it. Well, there it is for you, people. Check out the links in the description. You can work with this guy.
Julian, I appreciate you, bro.
Thank you so much,
Seriously,
man.
Bro.
This was fucking awesome. So we will have to do this again at some point, because there's a lot of different. I mean, you're a Navy SEAL. You've done the shit. You've been out there. Stuff that's happening around the world. Like, there's a lot of different things to talk about.
Yeah.
And also I think like a lot of people out there are struggling too. During this current era, and they could use a voice like you to help them with some of that motivation to take control of their shit.
We all need it at times, man. I have.
Fuck yeah. All right, dude. Thank you again.
Appreciate it, bro.
We'll do it again. Everyone else, you know what it is. Give it a thought. Get back to me. Peace. Thank you guys for watching the episode. Before you leave, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and smash that like button on the video. It's a huge help. And also, if you're over on Instagram, be sure to follow the show at Julian Dorey Podcast, or also on my personal page at Julian D. Dorey. Both links are in the description below. Finally, if you'd like to catch up on our latest episodes, use the Julian Dorey Podcast playlist link in the description below. Thank you.